Liquid, though, Jenkins. We got to highlight them, too, because they've also had a crazy road. Their year was very different because they already, from the get-go, had very high expectations put to their squad.
Yep. And going back a little bit, I will say, anytime the Creep Wave squad are playing against each other, there's a lot of shit talk that goes on. Liquid as well during the pause and a lot of shit talk. To see that this game.
Well, we're going to find out what we're going to see this game because it's drafting time. That's right. Get ready for game one.
I don't know.
Entity versus Team Liquid. Game one.
All right, I want to talk more about Team Liquid, Jenkins, because you're making...
Take a minute.
What did you ask again? I don't... Team Liquid. Okay, let's
talk to me about Team Liquid. But you wanted to go further back than just this year.
Yeah. The pause. There was a lot of shenanigans. I mean, these Liquid guys, they have insane personalities. There's a lot of Zai stream viewers out there spamming out the Zai Jays. It's Matumba's last year, you know, so everybody wants to see that go well. And then on top of that, you got Insania, who accidentally picked Gyro at the only other TI that he's been at. And so he just wants to...
Hey, he's already doing better than what he did that time.
Yeah,
he's already
exactly.
in the tournament.
It's because Gyro's not in the meta.
Sure.
Because he didn't misclick anything yet.
Right.
I hope one day Insania can live that down because it's brought up every time. Insania is brought up.
Listen, he brings it. He's my boy. He's in the bubbies. He's a bubby. He brings it up. He ridicules himself over that one.
But we were talking about how Entity should be proud to have made it this far and to feel satisfied after the performance. Liquid, on the other hand, would not be satisfied if they were knocked out here. They have so much expectations that not only their fans and their organization has placed upon them, but expectations they have for themselves. This is a squad of veteran players, of accomplished players. People look to this team and they think, wait, this team must make it far. This team must win. So they are feeling the pressure in a way that Entity isn't right now.
Well, on the other hand, you could argue that getting through the last chance qualifiers, it's kind of like Entity playing that 100-minute game, where way more than 100-minute game, where like
128.
They've already drained all of the nerves out of their brain systems because it's like, well, they already had to deal with that in last chance qualifiers. They don't got any chemicals left up there, you know.
Oh yeah.
And looking at the opener, Tiny for Entity. Most likely just going to be straight up position 4. Kataomi player.
There it is. You wanted to see it in the previous series.
I wanted to see it.
You wanted to see it in the previous series.
Thinker, yeah. And Kataomi only played 5 heroes so far, but his Tiny was mean in a game against RNG because he was the one actually carrying the game from that position. I mean, you're not position 4 anymore. You're literally carry. And
the five HF version had 2 raid picks, and that's not even the guy.
And moon shards.
Yeah, moon shards, of course.
Easy.
So Arc Warden first pick is such an entity-specific kind of thing. I don't think we will see any other team on this main stage do something so bold. Potentially OG might if they get to that point, but I don't know. But this is a Stormstormer hero. He has a really high success rate actually on it so far this TI. I think he's won 4 out of 5 games so far. So it's definitely something that they have developed. It's unique to them and it works for them. So
why are they the only team that can get away with that?
They understand. They've always been different. Like the way they played at the Arlington Major was also with 2 offlaners. They did have Saberlight as a stand-in, but their understanding of the game is just completely different. Other teams try to copy them, but not to the full extent. And Arc Warden, from the mid lane. Usually we see this hero from the safe lane most of the time when it's picked, but they already see the matchup. This is going to be Lashrak on the mid lane. Mickey has been dominating, one of his best heroes for sure, and they know the matchup. They do have a kill threat with this Tiny roaming around, setting things up, and banning out these heroes to protect the Arc Warden because Lone Druid, Matu is one of his best heroes, and also having Savage Roar push him out of the bubble.
But also Entity as a team, they've always been hero specialists, so to speak. Their hero pool for each individual player, with the exception of Pure, is a lot smaller than a lot of the other teams, right? So Lacoste is pointing at his notes and he's like, look.
Yeah, look, 5 heroes on Kataomi, 6 heroes on Fishman.
But yeah, so they kind of develop things that they really like and they do really well and they don't stray from it. Instead of trying to adapt to the meta, they just try to create their own and and hone it to the best of their abilities. And I think this Arc Warden is enabled by the fact that Pure doesn't necessarily have to play heavy farming carries.
He plays offlaners, yeah. He can do what Saberlight does, but then also he can do what the hard farming carries do.
Yeah.
That's the most
Absolutely.
impressive thing about this
because he was
kid.
one of the, I'm not going to say the first one, because other players did play position 1 Doom before, but Pure was the one, you know, really spamming it out. And looking at the ban, Ancient Apparition, if we want to go back to RNGs, to double Divine Ripper, he didn't buy it for himself. But I was thinking, like, because Leshrac is such a popular pick right now, Spirit Vessel position 4s, like, no one buys it from the mid lane anyway. The item got nerfed. You need to get much closer to be able to use it. I think it was reduced by 200 or 150.
Yeah, it's rough.
And Ancient Apparition, like, Leshrac's first item, whether from offlane or the mid lane, is going to be Bloodstone. So you need to be able to have something to stop that healing, and that's why this Ancient Apparition ban makes a lot of sense.
And often when Entity go for this Arc Warden, they have tended to pair it with the Lone Druid, but because it's Liquid, you're playing against Liquid, you have to ban out the Lone Druid because you're probably not going to get it for yourselves. So I wonder what kind of position 1 won't really be a 1 in this case, but what kind of carry hero they're going to choose for Pure to accommodate or enable this Arc Warden.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. The second ban phase is done. And it is Team Liquid that probably wants to secure some supports for themselves, because Enigma, yes, is flexible. We have seen both Boxy and Zai play it in the past. But other than that, I'm assuming we're still needing some supports. Oh, that's going to be our Boxy. Actually, did you know in the first series that Team Liquid played with Zai? He played 1 game as Pudge offlane and 1 game as Spirit Breaker offlane. So there is some potential as that Spirit Breaker for him as well. So a little bit of flex.
I think they got Jakiro, right? Oh, sorry, Jenkins.
I just gonna say, I think like Enigma and Leshrac, Leshrac less to a lesser degree once he gets the Bloodstone, but these heroes want somebody to run in and just cause chaos, so that way they can get their spells off, so that way Leshrac can do the most amount of damage possible, so that way Enigma can get off the black hole. So I like the Spirit Breaker. Also, it's like a global hero, so if Leshrac is sitting in some jungle farming, you can kill somebody in a side lane. Even globally, it's like, oh, I'm here, like the jungle camps are dead, let's go kill this guy.
And also, catching Arc Warden is going to be so much easier with the Spirit Breaker, because these two heroes, like, yeah, Leshrac does get in your face when he gets to like 4 items, but yeah, Enigma, Leshrac, as you said, you need someone to soak up some kind of a damage, and which better hero than Spirit Breaker with his status resistance.
And planar pockets as well.
Oh yeah, the best ability in the game.
Yep.
Have we seen that?
No.
No, I've never seen it before. I've never seen it.
I've tried it a couple of times in my pods, and it really just feels so bad.
I thought you were going to say good.
No.
That's too bad.
You're after you use it, you're like, oh, I spent 1,400 gold on that? Okay.
I want to sell it. Like, you don't even need to give me 50%. Just give me something. Give me 400. I'll take it.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a pivot from Entity. I thought they would go for one of their signature Jakiro picks, just because the Ice Path gives them the ability to potentially stop the Spirit Breaker to cancel the Black Hole, but instead they go for the ever-popular Crystal Maiden. She's just a very strong laning hero, and her aura is going to enable the Tiny and the Arc Warden, so I can understand prioritizing the sustain over something like the Jakiro's utility.
I find the Naga to be a bit greedy with the Arc Warden. I feel like there's not much playmaking from these 2 cores. If this is a core, it could
This
be a
is
support.
also potentially a Toby's hero, because they played it on the offlane.
Yeah, I'm assuming for now that it will be indeed. Also, I see something familiar on the side of Team Liquid. They got themselves a Spirit Breaker Lifestealer. Where did we see that yesterday?
Tundra played it, and they played it really well.
Question. You had to answer that one.
Sorry.
But it was a great game. Honestly, they made it look really good. And
did.
I mean, what if Liquid just play this core Spirit Breaker? That would be cool. I really wouldn't mind seeing that, especially if they're playing against this Arc Warden. You can see how value would be if Spirit Breaker actually gets some
Get
items.
them the items, so we can actually
It's
catch the Arc.
greedy, what it looks like to be offlane Naga Siren here, because they did play that against Team Secret, and the way he itemized was Raid Pack and Pipe, just utility pretty much.
But they don't really win with their offlane Naga, though.
It's about stalling the game, using these illusions plus Arc Warden until Arc Warden hits the critical mass, and then the game just becomes like it's so difficult once Arc Warden has like 5-6 items, and with these heroes they can cut the waves for as long as possible. Like this game might be, we've seen Entity play a 107-minute game, but this one might go on even.
Understandable. To me, I'm just concerned. Obviously, Entity are confident in their ideas. I just haven't seen their offlane Naga be that successful.
25% win.
It hasn't been great for them, but if they are potentially doubling down on it, then I'm really happy to see where it's going to take them. But kind of backpedaling a little bit to talk about this Lifestealer, I quite like Lifestealer in the Lifestealer versus Naga matchup. He can't really sit and fight her if it's a one-on-one situation, but he can build Mjolnir, right? He can rage through the song. And he can kill her supports. Like, he can create situations for his team where Naga doesn't have the most advantageous matchup.
Okay, so they're going to shift things around, it seems.
I believe it's still going to be a pure slaughter.
Yeah, I think it's a carry slaughter.
It's a carry slaughter, but they will play it against the Lifestealer just to have that lane matchup.
Yeah.
Yep, they could go CM Slardar. Sounds like a pretty strong lane, depending, of course, what this pick is.
And also against this Arc Warden, you have Spirit Breaker plus Infest to be able to get on top of him. But there's a ways to reset. With Naga Siren, Lifestealer doesn't like to play at Slardar at any stage of the game, lowering his minus armor and also have an ability to control him, can't TP out with the bash. I think what Entity has is a bit greedy, but with the heroes that they have, they can stall the game.
I think if they get the lanes that they want, Slardar into Lifestealer and Tiny into this Enigma, you just go tree grab level 1 and you just hit his Eidolons. He's one of the better heroes at making sure Enigma doesn't have a great time on lane, simply because of that. And if he's played as a support, which he is going to be, he can focus all of his tree charges on hitting the Eidolons. He does not have to hit creeps or deny creeps, right? So I do like it for Entity if they can get those desired lanes.
A lot of talk still, or a lot of time still left to talk here for Team Liquid. They had close to 2 minutes left in their bonus time before this final pick. So we're seeing Coach Blitz give a little bit of a speech to his squad. Some waves coming out.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Oh, I like Glitch for the last.
You do?
Because they're all blue and right facing.
Well, Lifestealer not. But
well, other than Lifesteal.
Okay, yeah, sure. And also having an extra armor, you have bouncing between illusions. It's very hard to micro Naga Siren illusions and still like deal damage, and great against the Invoke or Arc Warden because you can pull them out of the bubble.
Yeah, we still don't know where the Spirit Breaker is going.
And it is Lich. Good call, Cost. Good call indeed. And is that for you enough to sway Liquid's play? Ooh, not convinced.
I like it, but I'm a big fan of Arc Warden. I think this hero is not utilized enough, so I think I'm going to go with Entity for game 1.
I like both of these drafts, but after seeing Tundra play the Infest Bomb Lifestealer, I'm really excited to see it in action again. I do think there's a lot of potential for them to hit this really strong timing before Arc Warden reaches that point where it's impossible to fight into. So I think it's just going to be a matter of execution around the 30-minute mark more than anything else.
And we're going to find out. It's game 1 of elimination series here between 2 Western European squads. Let's get some more insight from the coach from Team Liquid. It's Blitz with Slacks.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm joined here by Blitz Dota, coach for Team Liquid. They're pretty, some would say greedy draft coming out from Entity with a lot of guys that need some farming. They need some time to come online, potentially. Do you feel like you have the momentum necessary in order to counter that? Or would you even call it greedy?
I mean, I think if it's their playstyle, and everybody here, if you're going to get eliminated, you kind of just want to do your own thing and not worry too much about what the opponent is doing. So, I mean, I think we match up well, but really just comes down to how we play rather than the draft.
What is the Team Liquid play style?
I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but hopefully fast this game.
All right, well, hopefully that quickness will lead to a win. Thank you so much, Blitz. It's going to be an exciting series, and we hope to see if you guys can make it. But for now, let's throw over to our wonderful casters for game 1 of Entity versus Liquid.
Oh, thank you so much, Slacks. We do get into it. Game number 1 here between Liquid and Entity, a best-of-3 lower elimination bracket here. We've got John X5, we've got Gunnar, Dota. Gunnar, you're looking very handsome as always, but how are you feeling?
70-minute game, 80-minute game, Arc Warden, Naga. One side, there's Enigma, you have to be scared.
We're breaking records, Gunnar. We're breaking records here today.
Yeah, we definitely are. It's going to be maybe the longest series, maybe if all the games kind of go the same way. Would be really interesting to see, of course, as we heard from Blitz. Liquid not looking to really play that long con. They want to come out fast here. They want to get out aggressive. Do you feel like they have enough to be aggressive here, Gunnar?
On the side of Liquid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most teams like playing a little slow with the Lush in the early game. You get the Bloodstone, and that's kind of your go time. So in terms of laning stage, no, I think they're going to be very stable in the lanes. No one's going to make many moves. Enigma wants to sit in his lane as well, but once they get this probably level 8 timing on Lesh, he goes to farm a lot. Maybe the Lifestealer will rotate to the Enigma. It's mostly probably on the Lifestealer, honestly, to do a lot of the early moves.
What do you feel like the timing is for that Lifestealer then? Well, any specific itemization? Maybe you kind of go away from the armlet here, you go for maybe a quicker Maelstrom or something?
We've been seeing a lot of like Mjolnirs and BKBs on the Lifestealer, especially versus Naga. I think it happened yesterday. I don't remember what happened, what the player was, but it's a lot of BKBs, which is pretty interesting because you would always think of this hero as having a built-in BKB, so you don't need it, but it's just the ability to fight and constantly have a BKB for almost like 20 seconds with the Rage.
It's just so much space that gets given out. Of course, taking a look at the mid coming out here for Stormstormer up against Mike. Leshrac up against the Arc Warden. And, you know, me and Mike, we've seen a lot of Arc Wardens out in Asia.
Yes, we have.
Arc Warden, Mike, your favorite hero?
My favorite hero, indeed. I mean, I hate this hero so damn much. I mean, it just drags out the game so much. And I mean, you were saying it was a decent pick here, Gunnar. I know you were kind of scared we might have another very, very, very long game. Well, what are you thinking about the mid lane, though? Against Mike on the Leshrac, who should have that inherent advantage?
I think probably it's fairly even. Both of them have nukes, so they're just going to secure creeps and not think about it. And as well, both of them walked into the matchup very comfortably. Obviously, the Arc Warden's picked into the Lesh, so he knows his matchup, he knows it's mid. But Mickey also had the opportunity to, pawn off the Lesh if he's too scared of the matchup. So I think it should be pretty even. Both people are going to farm. There's opportunities at level 6, mostly on the Arc Warden side. This level 6 timing is really strong with getting 2 sets of all your spells, having a support rotate. But we'll probably see Mickey just rotate out of the lane once he's 6.
Well, let's talk about the top lane as well. Matama Man, Insania are going to be against Toby and Kataomi. So the Pulse 3 Nagasara and the Pulse 4 Tiny against this Lifestealer Lich lane. John, what are you thinking about this lane? Like, top lane, do you think one side has the advantage here? Do you think it goes the other way?
I think it's fairly good for Liquid. And down the line, you're going to have the Frost Shield to just kind of hold Matumba up front. Toby's not going to be able to be as aggressive with his right-click harass, and Kataomi's going to need levels to really kind of gap close. What I'm interested to see is really the itemization of Toby. We heard the panel. They've been going for utility, you know, raid pack, Pipe of Insight, stuff like that, just to keep you alive in the middle of these fights. And that can really slow down Liquid here. I mean, they do have damage, but it's mainly on Mickey early on. It does feel like it does take a little bit more time for that Lifestealer to ramp up, outside of just staying alive for a long time. So I think that's what Entity's likely just going to look. Get those utility items up in Naga and just run from there.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Naga being picked pretty early in this tournament, and a lot of the time it's actually flexed to support or offlane, like probably majority of the time. And you would always think to yourself, why would you pick this hero that's always known for, you need 3-4 items, you need Manta, Defusal, Scotty, a heart, and you're like, okay guys, I'll show up, I'll stop farming, I'm going to fight. But a lot of it's now that pushing lanes is very important to a lot of teams, and Naga, her spells are so good that she can push lanes with no items, or little to no items. And the way that fights are being broken up now is there's a lot of 6, 7, 8 second fights where you have BKBs, you have the big Mars arenas, you have Black Hole in this game, for instance, where that's where a team needs to win the fight. The fight needs to end there. And with the new shard, which is that, it used to be the old axe, where it's the healing on the song. You kind of have this ability to reset the fights very easily in a lot of games, and just, you know, play for, in this game, they have the Arc Warden. Arc Warden loves long fights, and so all they have to do is survive the early, like the initial fight of Liquid in the mid game to late game, and they should have the advantage.
Well, talk to me about that. In fact, hold that thought, because top lane, there is going to be a bit of an avalanche, but it's not going to lead to much. Talk to me about that last lane, and we've got the bot lane as well. I believe we do have the Enigma and the Spirit Breaker here against, of course, the CM and the Slaughter. What are you thinking about this one? Like, is there an advantage for either side? I feel like Pure should have it over Boxy, but I suppose it can go either way with the Enigma being against them as well.
I'm surprised the Naga didn't go bot, actually. I thought Naga is generally good versus Enigma. But they probably think the Crystal Maiden, now with the nerfs to the Eidolons where they have less magic resistance, can probably help deal with them earlier better. And I think it's just kind of how they wanted to play their heroes in the game, and they don't care at the lane as much. Enigma also just generally wins the lane, so you can't be too sad if you lose the lane or it's a little rough. But even now, he's up 400 gold, so the early lane is going in Entity's favor.
Is it worth the trade-off, though, of not having the Slaughter up against the Lifestealer early on, just to be a little bit more aggressive up top?
Honestly, that's probably the bigger difference into the lanes. I thought the Slaughter was picked just to lane or as a Lifestealer. But again, they probably also just are comfortable playing the heroes in this style. They're comfortable playing in their lanes. So there's not much reason, unless you think that it's, you know, a massive difference. I think both of the lanes are just comfortable playing, and it'll fix what they want for the mid game. better.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Big vision being placed here in the mid lane. Boxy with a cheeky little rotation, just trying to keep tabs on Stormstormer. I suppose against the Arc Warden as well, this is, you want to try and take this man down early on if you can, right? Because as you get into the mid and the late game, obviously with the Tempest double, it becomes very hard to catch him. So it seems like Boxy's already kind of setting up his bot lane. There's going to be a bit of harassment out onto Fishman. In fact, a charge as well, but how lucky can you get? He does get one bash, but that's going to be about it. Zai, he will rotate onto Boxy, they go, or rather Pure they go, but Pure, he's just going to just run away very easily with the sprint.
Yeah, Arc Warden's one of the heroes. It's similar to a Tinker, where he's very slow and you want to run at him mid and kind of stop his timings. Even now you see he has a Midas queued up before boots. So anytime you see that, you always are like, okay, kill him, don't give him Midas, don't give him the Midas timing. And Leshrax's one of the best heroes to rotate mid towards. He's very fast, he does a lot of damage. So we'll probably see some early rotations, I'd say in the next minute or two, where Boxy's going to try to kill the Arc Warden at least once in the early game.
It does feel like you need that, right? Like we talked about the timings again, and we heard Blitz. They do want to play faster here on Liquid. They've got the foundations to get that done. For Entity's end, I mean, how fast do you really want to take this game?
You don't want to take this game back. Whenever you pick Arc Warden, honestly, the biggest timing on Arc Warden is a level 25 talent. As sad as it sounds, maybe exciting as it sounds for the arena.
Excuse you.
You want to play for this cooldown reduction talent at level 25. That's your big timing. That's when the game gets very hard. So,
bit of a charge mid lane. He was getting ganked, to be fair, so he might not complete the charge. Though I say that he's still going for this. Stormstormer could be in a bit of danger. They do land the follow-up stun. Mickey, does he have the damage? Stormstormer? No, he's the one to get the kill. Fishman with a great rotation out. Mickey, he's going to feed his own life away as well. Complete disaster here in the mid lane for the side of Liquid.
Yeah, the instant TP's in, they managed to share that damage coming out, and Stormstormer manages to just run away in the nick of time. 2 kills for their trouble, and we talked about Liquid going fast. They tried to dodge that gank and transition to a kill. Doesn't quite shape up that way.
He also is really low on mana on the Lesh, so his ult, I think, stopped because of mana. So they lost that little bit of damage. I think one more tick of the ult, the Arc dies, even if he has more mana to do the toggle. But just unfortunate. A really nice rotation. Entity just... I think this team plays fast.
Pure, he's in danger now. Maybe Liquid trying to return the favor as Boxy getting very lucky with the bashes. Can he find another? Not quite yet. Pure going to go for a run. Boxy, he'll try to chase, but with the sprint, it's a little bit too hard to keep up. So they are going to back off. I suppose at the very least, you are forcing Pure to have maybe a little bit of a slower game here in the slot.
Yeah, he's going to have a slow game, but again, he's not really the win condition in this game at all. It's all in the Arc. They pick the starter as a hero that will just run in, stun, and give vision for the Arc. And if he dies, it sucks.
Pure?
He's dying right now.
He certainly is. A couple lucky bashes out, but Pure again going to be able to run. I believe that was 2 bashes in a row. Meanwhile, top lane, Toby now going to be in danger. He's got a lot of armor on that Naga Siren, but they are still chopping through. Matumba not giving up. Toby, he'll try to keep juking around that tier 1 tower, but there is no help coming. Matumba able to secure his first kill of the game.
Yeah, it's a nice kill to pick up, right? It's a lane that already feels pretty free from Tumbaman. 48 to 11 not really being contested. I think the one thing for Liquid as well, focusing so much on Pure down bot, is that those rotations meant that we saw them attempt at least once a while ago. They're not trying again anytime soon. So you're giving a lot more room for that Arc Warden, as you're seeing here, Gunnar. And Stormstormer, he's going to have a good path towards that Midas.
Yeah, the biggest entity right now, I don't think the side lane cores really matter to the overall game plan. They can do their role with low farm, bad games. They just have to, create vision, create space, push lanes. Arc Warden will do everything. He'll kill everyone who do all the damage.
Mid lane, Kataomi, he's the first target, and they do find it, but now Mickey could be in danger. He does back his way out. They are not going to pursue. It seems like Kataomi going to be the only casualty, and of course it's the mid laner in this TriCast saying that the side lanes don't matter, Gunnar. I wouldn't have expected any less from you.
The mids are going to be the star. I think even on Liquid, the Mickey, his Bloodstone timing really big. Also, he picks up a casual cloak. We've seen that a lot as the tournament's developed, where there's so much magic damage people are picking in the early game. This game it's the Arc, Tiny, and Crystal Maiden, where just having this casual cloak, there's so many plays I've seen where they have 50 health left, 100 health left, and it's purely because of this cloak. And it's so cheap. It's just a really nice value item.
He's rotated up top. They are at least going to find the Lich here, so it's a decent pickup onto Insania. Question is, can they find the big one? Can they get Matumba Man? Not quite. He'll go for an Impest, quick stun away, and he'll just run his way back perhaps into the jungle, while Boxy is going for a charge up top, but naturally is going to have to cancel. There's 4 heroes up there. There's absolutely no point going up.
Yeah, and I like seeing this kind of movement out from Entity. They're trying to go a little bit quicker. At the same time, this is so much space for Stormstormer mid. I mean, Liquid have not been able to focus down this Arc Warden. Oh, Midas fully up. Maelstrom coming up next. You've got the Tempest double. The farm will rack up here.
Yeah, it's one of the things where both those safe lane carries want to sit in their lanes as long as possible. That happens every game, and it's kind of a test of chicken. It's whether you're going to be the carry to rotate first, and you have to make sure the move's successful. A lot of the time it is, but those times where you leave your lane too early and it's bad, it gets really bad. So you're always going to wait for trying to bet the perfect opportunity. Pure makes the right call. He goes top, gets for Lich. He loses his entire bot, but now he kind of has space to farm.
Just go straight to that jungle and try to build up and still give Toby a little bit of room. I mean, this is the one thing with Nog as well. You mentioned here, Gunnar, right? You just send out the illusions, you can scout out, you can clear out camps, clear out waves without too much commitment. Although you're not doing too much to stop the life over there.
Nice little cancel from Kataomi. Boxy trying for a charge, but really just wanted to zone him out for Mickey to be able to pick up the power rune. As now Mickey being slowed up quite a lot. They're going to move back in. This could be very dangerous for Liquid. Boxy, he's trying to help out, and he does take the toss away from Mickey as they keep going. Kataomi, he's the one to drop in. Mickey, look at this Giga Chat. He'll just keep going in. Against 4 heroes, he just doesn't care. But it may cost him his life, and eventually it will. But here comes Zai with the black hole. He wants Pure at the very least. Chain Frost out as well. It will be enough. Who won that team fight?
It's Entity, right? Arc Warden doesn't die. Everything on Entity is on the Arc Warden right now, and every time you don't kill him in the fight, he gets a kill or two, he survives the fight, you're just building up, getting XP. That's all that matters. It's all the XP. So every time he lives, it doesn't matter if he gets gold, doesn't matter about anything, he just needs the levels on this hero.
That, and you mentioned as well, right? Battle of the mid laners, you managed to find Mika on that Leshrac, stalling out that Bloodstone timing, so you're getting a ton. And again, all the movement out from Entity has just been forcing Liquid into this really weird position. They're having to respond to these side lanes, but the mid, it just feels like Stormstormer is getting way too much at this point.
At the same time, Liquid is playing for their timings, with both their 1 and 2 are top of the net worth right now. So Liquid, they're up 3k gold. We're talking about this, disaster right now. The Entity's getting all of their timings, but Liquid's having a good game. It's just that there's always this looming fear when you pick Arc Warden of, is it too late? Have we ended the game? We heard in the last series, we're gonna win in 30 minutes, and as we saw after 30 minutes, they didn't win, so the game got hard. And in this game, again, it's just the 25. That's the big timing.
So what you're telling me is we should delete Arc Warden from the game?
I never said those words out of my mouth.
I mean, you want to play it, don't you?
I like 20, level 25, 60-minute games occasionally. If it was a staple, maybe I would agree with you more.
Here we go again, charge up. They've got the Infest Bomb this time at Tumblr. They're going to find Pure on that pos 1 slider. Pure surely has no way out. He'll pop the sprint, but still slowed up here by Matumba. Will go down. Fishman, he was also spotted, but they aren't going to bother trying to chase that deep. They'll be happy with the slider.
Yeah, and it's really good to see Liquid recognize that time. Early Armlet already up on Matumba. #1 in effort that you pointed out there, Gunnar, and just play with that combination. Invest in, charge forward, give Mika some space, and start to get some action on the map.
Yeah, the panel was talking about this Infest Bomb, which last year kind of moved away from this in 2015, 2016. There's a lot of the puck lifestealer. Every game, your entire life was just infest him, jump out on a blink, get a kill. And we moved away to being more of a body, but I think now that everyone just dies so quickly right now to all these jumps that it's kind of becoming the standard these days.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing we're going to have to keep seeing out from Liquid. How often can they get that done? How often can they force Entity to play this game even slower? And they probably want to. The big thing right now is, again, you are seeing that build up for Liquid. 4k up despite that back and forth on the mid. Mika still on a good path towards that Bloodstone here.
It's all about the kind of item timings for Liquid. On the side of Entity, it's XP. On the side of Liquid, it's gold. They want to get probably Maelstrom, even maybe Mjolnir on the Lifestealer and a BKB. They want to get the rank backed on the Enigma. They want to get the Bloodstone on the Lesh. Whereas Entity, again, their only big hero that really, really matters that's going to win the game is the Arc Warden.
Right.
So Liquid has these 3 heroes that all going to give and take. What they get a timing, they help the others get timings. But the Slardar and the Naga, all they do is just try to make space, help team fight, and just everything's for the Arc Warden.
Well, this is where things start to really escalate, I feel like. You talked about the Midas, but now the Maelstrom up as well on the Arc, so he's just going to really scale out of control. Now, you talked about, that panic of, is it too late? Well, not quite yet for Liquid, but It seems like the pace of the game needs to speed up maybe just a little bit here from Liquid to try and slow this man down. So as you said, it's a full protect one. You don't care. It's all about the arc. Just make sure he stays alive, gets the XP, hits that level 25 mark, and then, well, then you're not playing Dota anymore.
No,
Playing the arc warden game.
Yeah.
it just changes completely. I think the one thing for Liquid right now is they're also starting to go into some good utility coming out from Zai. Rage pack pretty much done, fully assembled up, so they can try to go for these fights, try to prolong them a bit more, survive through. They've got some good durability coming out, and that could be one of the times. I mean, you're also almost done with Mika. At least you have the soul booster up, so it's going to be a lot more durable as well if he does get jumped on. Wow, full bloodstone.
So they're going to smoke up. They're going to, again, Liquid just uses timings. They get the item, they go, they smoke up, they fight. So they're going to look for try to get a kill. Again, they want the arc. That's the goal. And he's been in this mid lane area, so you'll see them wrap around mid or the tower. At the least, they want this tower.
A good read from the Storm, from the Arc Warden. He does back off at the right moment as Fishman is the one to tank the gank. You'd argue that's good positioning, right? Like, just, in fact, hold that thought, because Kataomi, he might be in danger as well. They may just find a second as the Nether Strike. Massive range up from Boxy, finding a second target, and they should take him down. No problem. Matumba, he'll be the one to take both kills. They'll even find a mid-tier 1 tower out of this, perhaps.
This tower is really important just for the amount of map it gives. Because Arc Warden wants to he wants to farm waves, and he wants to farm these safe camps, and every time you take the tower, he kind of gets less and less map, so he requires more and more lanes, which he takes away from his team. Anytime you give him safe farm, he'll take it, and then his team also gets farmed. But this is where his net worth is going to go up, and his team is going to go down, and you're going to, as you can see, the top 4, 3 of them are Liquid. And one of them is Entity. And it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger, all the differences.
And you can see that gap already between Stormer and the rest of his team. At least the 2K gap. Pretty big considering how much more well-balanced it is on Liquid's end. And it's going to get a little bit tougher for Entity to kind of maintain control. I mean, you are getting that build-up slowly but surely onto Toby here on the Naga as well. He does at least have the Hood of Defiance going into the Orchid for some a little bit more control coming out. Is there anything else from Entity that can maybe help them match up against Liquid's timings?
It's all about how they take the fights. They want very slow fights. They don't want them to be bursty, so probably they don't have the best follow-up for a song, but I would say something like a song into like a tiny combo and a hero. You kind of kite the fight out and you get a lot of spells. The Arc Warden still will do damage the whole game. He does a lot of damage, a lot of magic, but he can't ever get jumped. So they just need to play these really long-range fights, pokey. Even Starter's not too bad at it. He does so much damage in a jump in 1 or 2 hits with the bash that they're hoping just get 1 kill, get out, and just, you know, the game gets delayed by a minute. Delay the game, delay the game, delay the game. That's all it is. It's just about delaying.
Smoke up from Entity. I mean, they're going to rotate down towards the bottom side here with their starter CM. Boxy's actually going to charge in with the SPS bomb once again. Kataomi is around. That's the big target, though. They found Stormer, and they're going to take the kill. But can they get their way out? Matumba, he'll also get caught here by Pure and does get shredded by the Slaughter. It's Boxy. He'll go for a run, but the Courier's following him. The Courier's just giving the information they need. Boxy, though, he is too fast. Or is he? They try to find him, but Pure's off the mark with the blink.
A little unfortunate he had the clarity on the Courier, so I had the slow from consumables. So I wasn't able to perfectly follow him, but it was a nice play.
Yeah, and I think that's also the blink reveal coming out from Pure right there in that instant smoke. They managed to get the good angle. They lose their Arc Warden, but they at least find a punishment onto the Lifesteal, kind of slowing them down just a tad bit. Although I say slowing down, Matumba is still massive here.
Yeah, and he's going for the Shard next. I've been really liking the new Shard, how it works. It's so much cast range, it's so much lifesteal that you give to all your teammates. Even the Lesh, I like it so much with Leshrac lifestealer, because you put it on a target, it'll keep bouncing with all the AoE damage, he'll keep lifestealing, and he just gets an extra 2 or 3 Bloodstone effectively in the fight.
Roshan is going down the way of Liquid. No contest quite yet from Entity. Doesn't seem like they're quite well aware it is happening. Roshan, I mean, it's getting way too low now. They haven't got the time anymore to try and contest this one. So first Roshan of the game, going to go to the side of Liquid. They'll be very happy with that. It's like it was Mike who takes the Aegis. Naturally, the Leshrac really enjoys that reset. Happy days for Liquid. Now with this Aegis, you'd assume you can keep this pace going.
Yeah, it's the first Aegis of the game is generally just about pacing and gold. So Liquid's goal of this is they're 16 gold right now. They're going to go maybe like 8, 9k, depending on. And Entities just survive the Aegis, don't give up too much. don't worry about towers because the first Aegis doesn't matter too much. It's about the second Aegis that both teams are looking at as this is our go time, we have to go. So Entity is probably mentally, even though it's first right now, they're mentally prepping, all right, what are we doing in 10 minutes? When the next one spawns, what are we going to do? How are we going to fight this? He's not going to be 25, he's level 13. So what are they doing at this 20-30 minute mark where Liquid is prepping to end the game with his second Aegis?
And at that point, you're going to be seeing a lot of items coming out from Liquid. Like Zai's probably going to have his blink in less time than that. You're just going to be finishing up that full shard, and Matumba getting that additional life steal off. And the BKB is going to be up for Mika soon. And it doesn't feel like they have any good answers for that prolonged spell immunity, especially as you talk about down the line. Once Matumba has his own BKB, and that massive duration for him, it's all down to just pure on the Slardar.
I think Liquid right now just feels very comfortable with how the pace of the game is going. And Entity, you know, in the back of their head, they're still thinking that it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, but you're always worried if you're not the Arc Warden, because you're always like, you have to make sure that they have the tough job. He's the one who's just like, all right, don't worry guys, just trust me, I got this game. And everyone else has to be like, all right, what do we need to do to make sure that it's all going according to plan right now? And I think the way they use the starter right now is really nice.
Kataomi, nice avalanche away. Still Nether Strike, massive range once again from Boxy. Though Kataomi with a nice toss back, but Matumba, he's going to be there with the slows. You've got Fishman around to try and help out, but in the end, he really just can't do much through the rage of Matumba. Is this a bot T2 tower to go down? It does seem like.
Yeah, they're going to use the glyph, but I don't think Liquid has anything to fear. Entity doesn't want to force this fight, and they actually don't glyph it.
Oh, interesting.
The first tier 2 would have gotten a reset, maybe just stall out a bit. Not the biggest thing in the world.
It's not too big of a deal. The worst is when you don't get a reset the glyph and you glyph the tier 2, and that's when it leads into maybe your tier 3s get a hit, maybe you lose all of your outer tower. So at least now they still, it's pretty much the same, it's just the game is 6 seconds faster, which not the worst.
Not the worst, although it does feel like for Entity every second does count, right? You're still trying to build up for Stormer. He is at the point where he has the blink and the Maelstrom, but still miles off from that 25 talent where it does get ridiculous. If you're an Entity now, I mean, you mentioned it, right? You're looking for what you're going to do by the next Aegis. You're looking how to enable Stormer to hit those spikes. What are we looking for from them? They're going to have this blink on Kataomi soon, and it is up, but that's timed with Mika's own BKB.
They're hitting a lot of timings on Entity soon. The Orchid's going to come out for Toby, BKB is going to come out for Pure, the Blink just finished, as you said, on the Tiny, so the others are hitting timings, and Art can play with his own team timings. He has so much range and damage that they're going to kind of hit this maybe ball where they will force a fight into the Aegis and be confident, but on the side of Liquid, they're actually hitting their own timings as well. Boxy almost has a full BKB. He actually has the full BKB right now on the Spirit Breaker, which is, this is where you see the kind of difference, I guess, in terms of one team's being ahead and one team's other. A lot of it also comes down to the supports. You see that it's been 20 minutes and he just picked up the blink on Tiny, and on the other side, he's up 2,000 gold on the Spirit Breaker and has a BKB.
Yeah, so it's going to feel a bit tough to kind of close out. And that's something with the support Tiny, right? Like that blink timing just feels so pivotal, and when you manage to only grab it after the initial BKBs come out, it can feel a little bit rougher. And that's him playing with the Philostone that they've had for a few minutes now. So it's just been a little bit slower for Kataomi. He has been copying the ganks. I mean, he's 0-4-5. He has been kind of making that space for the team.
He made the choice to go phase boots, which is generally if you want to make a lot of early moves and not force the blink and play with your team. But unfortunately, it didn't really end up working out except for that first TP play.
Give me a rough estimation, you two. What's the time? Like, give me a time in the game where this Arc Warden's a problem. What is the exact time? I want predictions.
Exact time on the clock.
I don't want your level 25. I want exact time.
42 minutes in the clock.
I was going to say 43.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
Very close.
See what happens. See which one of you was right. Entity grouped up. May go for a smoke. Chances are you don't really want to. Just group around Stormer, make sure he remains safe, keep that farm going. Liquid, they have taken over that Radiant Triangle, so it's going to be a pretty nice bit of farm denial here inside of Liquid, but again, it doesn't seem like they're panicking. Entity, they're more than happy to drag this out.
I also know we talked a lot about how Entity's kind of doing in there, but and like how they're behind, but they are actually very good at defending this high ground. They have Tiny and they have an Arc Ward. Both these heroes are amazing at defending the high ground. They have a Naga Song to reset if Liquid goes a little too far, so Liquid is, they're not too happy about going and forcing high ground until they're 100% sure that it's going to be good.
Yeah, the tools are there on Entity to kind of stall out. We've seen already from Entity's one game, they can stall these games out.
Pure is going to drop. Very easy pick up here by Matumba once again. Just the Infest bomb proving to be so powerful here by Liquid. Pure, again, he's the pos one, but doesn't really care. He's just buying space for his mid laner. And it seems like Liquid, well, they are going to find a Tempest stubble, but that's not going to be the real thing. Get a bit of gold here for Mickey, but that's about it.
The gold injection's always nice. You are kind of working on what you're looking for with the Aegis, right? Gunnar mentioned use first Aegis to get 2-3k more gold. They are up 7 to 8 from that 6 to 4k lead they had a while ago. So they've worked the map really well here on Liquid. They're starting to shut down Entity from getting into that jungle, from trying to reach forward in those lanes because of how early some of those tier 1s fell. It's just a little bit more challenging now for Stormer to just farm. And as you mentioned, Gunnar, he's just eating all the farm now. The farm is still there for Stormer, but it's starting to feel like Pure and Toby are really being sacrificed for that.
His BKB is so slow. It's going to be probably a 25-minute BKB on your carry, which is not the happiest. That's why he keeps dying. He's just getting run down by the Lifestealer. And even when he goes on them top, you can see how confident Liquid is to just walk away. They see all the TPs. They get the one kill on starter. Fishman is just one hit away from dying to the Lifestealer because he's going to be so slow, but Liquid just walk away. They don't feel the need to make anything. They don't need a bigger win than they're getting right now. They just take a small win here, take a small win there, and just walk away.
Well, save Kataomi and Fishman this time, though. I say that. Nether Strike, Boxy, not going to go all the way, but does see Toby. He might try for the Naga Siren, but does end up thinking better of it. In fact, Ensnare is out from Toby. Just hold down the Leshrac for a little bit, but it's not going to mean anything. They allow Mika to walk away. Liquid once again controlling that Radiant Triangle. And Entity still sticking as a group.
It's starting to feel like you're finding a lot more for Liquid to play with here, though. Blink off on Zai, Aether Lens as well, a little bit easier to reach with that Black Hole. You do have really good cancels here from the side of Entity, so it's not exactly the easiest to just go in without any protection or spell immunity at all. But the options are available for initiation from Liquid once they feel like they've got that foundation to try and pierce through for more objectives.
Yeah, this Enigma, he's early picked, so his Black Hole's generally early picked. He's not picked for the Black Hole anymore. He's picked for the lane, the Malefice, and all the ores he's able to buy. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up a BKB, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just buys the Shard and just stuns heroes. Because he doesn't need to do anything in these fights. He just needs to exist and scare Entity away from grouping up, clumping up, and being able to kind of protect each other. Because once you do that, that's how you get Black Hole, and that's how the game ends.
Oh, there's that Gleipnir up. This is where things get scary for me. I see that Gleipnir, I get shivers up my spine. It's so hard, just the Tempest double all over the map, able to solo you once he roots you with that Gleipnir up. And see what Stormer does done again. You guys kind of mentioned it's about 20 minutes away from him feeling completely busted, so we're going to give it a bit more time, but it does feel like it's getting to that point where even I'm getting a little bit scared now for Liquid.
And you can also see at the exact same timing it's like Gleipnir, BKB finished on starter, Pipe finished on Naga. All these timings are kind of lining up. Fishman has a lot of wards queued up, so we'll see those timings coming out soon. But this is where Entity's going to try to pick one hero up, maybe two, and then just call it a night, go away, keep farming. They just want the kills to delay the game, whereas Liquid want the kills to secure the next objective.
With the smoke up, Matumba does read it well, backing off. I am curious, Gunnar, we had a little bit of conversation in the back room about this, but Toby's queuing up the Ags here. How do you feel about that Ensnare and that reel in this kind of game?
I don't even think of the reel in. You know, if reel in got removed, I don't know if the Ags would change at all.
Oh, this is dangerous. Boxy, he's going for a big charge. There's a lot of heroes from Entity around. He'll still go for Fishman. They might find the CM. Do they want to try and force a fight? It doesn't seem like it, but this is a big timing. You talked about the second Roshan. It is now available in Liquid. They've spotted it out.
Yeah, this is when the game starts going downhill very, very in Liquid favor. They're going to get Shard, they're going to get Aegis, and Entity hasn't really hit their timing. The Archborn, even level 18, really big timing. You almost have 100% uptime on the double. But he's level 15, just hit 16. So this is probably where Liquid's going to want to look to hit, you know, maybe not mega creeps, but, you know, super creeps in the mid lane, take out the racks, take out bot racks. At least one side is probably going to be the next goal.
Yeah, they're going to be able to do that really well as everything's lined up. They find Toby.
They are going to find Toby. They don't want that Song of the Siren available in this team fight. In comes the Tempest double, but it does end up expiring. Liquid, oh, that's a big stun out from Pure. It's onto 3, but there's no follow-up to it. In they go. Onto Boxy, but he's got the BKB up. Song of the Siren's there, but Boxy, he just keeps going. Oh, with the Tumba, they'll find at least one, and that's going to be Pure gone. Can you keep this fight going?
That doesn't feel like it. Great first BKB use out from Boxy, interrupting that fight, isolating Pure, and still they managed to secure that Aegis. So everything Gunnar said, they're going to be able to start targeting some tier 2, start looking at some lanes of racks to take out and really build into that advantage, really start to choke out. Maybe not Stormstormer, he's still going to be able to reach out into some lanes, but the rest of the team is just going to start suffering on Entity's end.
There's also really unfortunate timing for Entity. As you said, the Tempest double times out. There's a 28-second downtime where he has no Tempest double. So Stormstormer TP's mid. He's sitting there in the trees watching the fight the entire time. You watch his ult tick down because he doesn't want to go into this hero. He wants to use his illusion to be able to fight. But by the time Pure's dead, he gets the illusion. They don't have the... It's just very unfortunate how it timed out.
It's just not quite shaping up in Entity. Mind you, they still have a lot of time to play for. Liquid looking to start to speed that game up. They've got the full Basher up now on Matumba as well, so he's got some control coming through here, and it looks like the Mjolnir isn't too far off as well. So all the timings really being met. Sharing farm nicely with Mike up there in the top 2. Mike for his part, a little bit more armor on, going for the Lotus Orb next. For Entity, I mean, we talk about those key timings, you know, with the BKBs, with the blinks up. What else can they do? Maybe just execute better? Should they be the one starting back?
They're going. They're going to try now. Mickey, he's in. Fishman, no, they want Toby. They want the Naga Siren. They'll get Fishman first, but Toby is completely melting to the damage of Mickey. They even found another. They'll find Pure. He'll try to BKB, but the Nether Strike right through it. They will secure the outpost, and Liquid just running circles around Entity.
Pure tries to catch the backline. He knows he needs to kill the supports because those are the ones without armor, but he just gets black hole very the back. They hold him the entire time. He goes down. As you were saying, it's hard for Entity to take a fight, I think, outside their base. They need to force... I think they need a toss back. They need to secure one hero, get him isolated in the fight, burst him down with all of their stuns, their damage. And playing these elongated fights or getting jumped at all by Liquid is kind of impossible, it feels.
Yeah, they've got the tools to do that. Of course, they can stall with the Arc Warden, as you mentioned. They've got really good high ground hold, although they're going to be able to find the illusion at least.
There goes that Tempest double. Charges out. They see Stormstormer. It's just a matter of whether they want to try and make the jump in. Seems like it was just Boxy trying to give the vision over to the tier 3 tower. It was clipped up. Seems like Liquid, they're in no rush. They've still got 2.5 minutes on that Aegis. They'll retreat, they'll reset, and maybe come back another day.
Tome bought up by the Arc Warden, trying to get this level 18. This is the first small timing. The level 20 timing, not that big. It's a lot of damage, but he's fairly the same hero. It's all about the 18 and the 25. Those are the big timings. And whenever you're behind, you get so much XP winning a fight. You get so many levels, they're on kill streaks, they're so much higher level than you. But do they win the fight to get there?
Yeah, it's tough to see that from Entity. Maybe, as you mentioned, just getting tossed back. Although,
oh, that's the real hero. Stormstormer looking like he may have found an opening. They're going to try and some Matumba. It'll be a big pickoff, a nice avalanche, a nice toss. Kataomi trying to set up. They will at least find the Aegis on Matumba, but they're going to try and focus down Boxy. But through the BKB, they can't do too much. Song of the Siren renowned. It's still only 2 heroes, but Liquid, they're coming in. They're trying to make something happen, but it seems like Entity, they are well and truly out. They'll find the Aegis. That's going to be enough for them.
That was pretty nice. They didn't even use the BKB on the Slardar. And again, this Aegis, maybe he gets tossed back to do a Slardar stun. Maybe he just gets killed instantly when he goes high ground. So maybe the game's delayed, but now the BKB is forced to live.
Okay, has he gone too far? BKB is there. Stormstormer is being chased down. It's just the Tempest double though. So Mickey, very confident with the BKB, is not going to drop, not in too much danger. Can they really go for this tier 3 tower though, like without the Aegis up?
No, it feels so risky. Like that, just all the jump from Entity makes it feel like you don't want that without protection. You kind of want that next Roche. And for Entity, that's good. They get more time to try to build up. They get more time to try and hit that level 25, 18, 20 talent timings for Stormstormer, and just kind of play the Arc Warden game going forward.
We also get to hit our 42 to 43 minute timing.
Yes.
Casters.
Very important.
Very important indeed. I'm kind of wondering, like, Zaya's been very quiet this game as well, right? Like, we haven't seen one black hole. We did see one. There was one solo black hole early in the game. Apparently there was another, we just didn't quite catch it. What are you thinking with Zaya? Like, is it an easy game for these black holes to come out? Is it important? Hold that thought, because mid lane, we might see one soon. Pure, he's in danger. Nice toss back from Kataomi. Saves the day, but will drop himself.
Very nice sacrifice. Yeah, I don't know. Zai, he just has nothing on his shoulders. He doesn't have to do anything. He just has to exist, and it's enough. It's scary. The hero's scary just existing. He always feels like, oh guys, we're gonna get black hole. We're gonna get black hole. Careful, careful. You always are talking about it. It's always the threat. I don't think he has to click it.
Yeah.
He can just wait for this Pure to walk forward, go to the back line, go a little too far, black hole one hero, and it's going to be enough for them.
Yeah, and just going back to that pickoff, without the Tiny, that threat of the toss back is gone, so high ground completely opens up, even though you have some setup with the song here.
Try to chase a little bit, but it doesn't seem like they can keep up. In fact, hold that thought. Kataomi with a nice toss back has found Matumba Man. This could be the big one. There's your black hole out from the low ground. Zai. It will get cancelled though by the Song of the Siren. They have at least got Fishman down. Liquid, can they keep going? It seems like they're going to try. Toby, he's the target. He'll get forced up the way, but it may not be enough. They'll just close the gap. Oh, it's a Kataomi. They want more. Toss in Matumba, but that's going to help Liquid. Matumba's happy to fight. They've even found the Arc Warden.
Oh my god.
An ultra kill out for Mickey. And GG has called Liquid. They make this game one look very easy. Just such a dominant performance from this dire end.
Oh yeah, they never hit that 42, 43 minute mark we talked about. I mean, and we heard Blitz, right? They wanted to play a faster game on Liquid. Went a little bit slower in lanes, but they hit this point where they just start getting that build up. They hit these initial timings, and with all of those tools on hand, they just managed to run it down. From that first Roche where they increased their lead, just went from there.
I think the standout was the Matu Boxy combo. They had so many infest kills. They keep killing. They killed Slardar 3 times on the side lanes. They pressured Stormstormer mid. Obviously didn't work out, but just the constant pressuring and forcing it so that they only have really one hero that is able to farm. That's what speeds the game up for you. That's what makes it Liquid up 4K, 5K, 6K so early, and they just keep growing the lead over and over.
Tell me, boys, before we do get into Game 2's dropped, is there anything you guys would like to see changed up?
Maybe you just don't go for the arc.
Right.
Liquid's playing fast today, it seems, and you might just want to match the tempo, get one of their standard, just quick, fast-paced lineups. You just kind of play. You want to play to the style of being able to play the game and not feeling like you have to hit your timings and you have to play later and just a slower game.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing for Entity, right? The last time we saw them up against RNG, that did go a long time. They tried to take it slower here as well. We got to see them go a little bit speedier, and we'll see if they adjust for Game 2.
Well, I love the advice you guys are giving. Just don't pick Arc Warden. That's my favorite kind of advice. I hope my teammates in my pubs are listening too. We're gonna head over to the panel, see what they thought about this game number 1.
It sounds so simple. Just don't pick Arc Warden. Words from our commentary team. And is it that simple? I'm going to also ask that same question to my panel. Is it that simple? Jenkins, don't pick Arc Warden. Was that the reason here that we have a 1 game up for Team Liquid?
I mean, they actually play the Arc Warden pretty well. Like I feel like the Arc Warden maybe wasn't the issue. It's more along the lines of like Liquid. I think like figured out. You know, if you pick Enigma, well, you don't really care about going late game. They were playing the map a lot better, out farming. There's a lot of like inaction for the first 20 minutes, and it's like, oh, the Arc Warden, of course that favors them. You look on the other side, there's Enigma. It doesn't.
It was kind of slow, especially from Entity's side, where I was this offlane Naga Siren just didn't feel like it worked out. Didn't do much.
Yeah.
You want to have something else. I don't think you need to be as greedy, considering that you have Arc Warden, so you have a lot of these boxes checked. Whether we're talking about, you know, getting the Gleipnir, holding the game for long enough, you needed to have something that actually plays Dota until your Arc Warden comes online.
I 100% agree, and we touched up on it a little bit in the draft, but they don't really have a high success rate with this offlane Naga Siren. And I understand the desire to make it work. I know what it can give them by way of teamfight and wave clear, and also it was their early black hole cancel, but the hero just doesn't do enough. They would be better off just trying to get something like a Primal Beast for the offlane if they're going to run an Arc Warden, right? Something that can fight early on without items, without the need to soak up any farm. And I think, all things considered, Stormstormer did what he could. He read smokes really well, actually. There was a couple of smokes where Liquid were hunting him, and he was just able to dodge it. And of course, one of his supports tanked it, but it really just wasn't enough. Their draft was way too slow.
It was a little bit on the slow side. We also heard our commentary team saying that if you pick Enigma that early on in the draft, you're not picking it for the black hole, so maybe the black hole counter wasn't really even needed in the end. Sai not dying even once. There was one point that I just remembered that we talked about yesterday. Yesterday we had an upper bracket match where Team Liquid lost to Aster, and the comparison was made that Liquid is the Aster of Western Europe, and Aster, obviously the Aster of China, but like that they are doing great in their region, but maybe not too good in the international stage. Well, lucky for Team Liquid that this opponent, and should they win the next game, the next opponent, it's a Western Europe, Jenkins.
Yeah, it's there was what, 6 Western European teams that we had at the start of today. So these teams know each other very well.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have said this last game, so maybe this doesn't hold that much salt because it's TI and everything changes at TI. But you'd think if one team wins game 1, it's like, oh, this is one of those matchups, rock paper scissors. Like we know Liquid can beat Entity, but yeah, like I said, it's TI. So even though it is Western Europe, everything changes.
Yeah, they do know each other very well. And speaking of knowledge, knowledge is something that Tsunami is going to test us on. What's happening, Tsunami? Please explain.
Yeah, you thought that I'm going to be bringing the knowledge, but this time I want to really benchmark all this analysis that you guys have been giving. I want to really put it to the test. So I'm going to play a little game show with you, a little quiz. And you at home, feel free to participate. It's quite simple. I am going to present 2 heroes in front of you. And I need you to choose which of them have the higher metric. It'll be kills, GPM, tower damage, stuff like that.
For group stage included?
Oh, we want to get really into the semantics.
Up until now, or up until yesterday? Up until, like what? Are we counting last chance qualifier?
We're not counting last chance qualifier. We're counting group stage. We are counting last game because one of the heroes was Arc Warden involved in one of these things.
Okay.
No cheating.
All right.
No cheating.
I'm not watching.
Pencils down. Let's start. Higher kill average between...
B.
You got Bloodseeker? Because you said B. No, it's too late. You said B. I'm sorry. Zeus and Bloodseeker.
Wait.
One at a time.
Average.
The highest average, I mean, make sure you can't see my card. Higher kill average. Is it Zeus or Bloodseeker,
I think Bloodseeker has been... Oh, Jenkins first.
Zeus kill steal.
I think it's Zeus.
I'm going to go Bloodseeker, and I think you're baiting these 2 with the Zeus because the kill steals.
Okay.
I want to go next.
Sure.
Because I also want to say Bloodseeker because I think he's been played less and therefore overall has a chance to be the highest.
Makes sense.
With you there.
Playing the odds.
Makes sense.
I'm going to say Zeus because I remember some really sick Zeus game where a player had like 18 kills or something. It was Dark Mago on
And he's hard
Thunder.
carrying the average?
Yeah, I think Dark Mago like inflated those stats a lot. So
Zeus is not played from position 4 role anymore, so it's always...
Well, neither is Bloodseeker.
I know, but...
We got a lot of questions, friends.
Go ahead.
One at a time. Okay. So what? Final answer?
Bloodseeker.
They pick Zeus.
Bloodseeker, Zeus.
carry me, Dark Mago,
Bloodseeker.
please.
I'm sorry, Dark Mago did not get you enough fantasy points. The
I will
answer
give you a
is a Bloodseeker.
Hey, get your hand out of here with that watch.
That's number 1. Let's see how you be sure to keep score, and be sure you at home, you better be honest about this one. Higher GPM average. We got
Oh, God. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Witch Doctor or Clockwork?
Oh, God. All right. I got my answer.
I got my answer.
Oh, you got your answers. You don't have any analysis on this
Wait,
one.
what is the stat again?
Have you seen any Jungle
Higher
Doctors?
GPM average.
Have we seen Jungle Witch Doctors?
Yeah.
Is that a real question?
Yeah, it's a lot of
we
GPM.
actually...
There they are. They're back.
I have my answer as well.
Okay, what you got?
I got Clockwork for the sole reason that at the group stage, position 4 Clockwork was very popular and got a lot of kills. Kills give gold.
Kills do give gold.
Yeah, you can also kill steal with Rocket. I'm all about that kill steal.
Especially if you're overclocking?
Yeah.
Okay, what you got?
Gonna have to say Clockwork as well because of the battery assault buffs where they do more damage to creeps.
Jungle Clockwork.
Yeah.
I want to go Witch Doctor. This is another bait Tsunami. Witch Doctor's not been played enough, so his GPM's higher.
Okay, the heroes have vanished, but I do believe that it was Clockwork. So
I'm winning.
This is a farce.
This is a farce.
It's a simple answer, Jenkins.
Joke.
These guys are cool also, though.
They are.
This one was higher... No, wait, never mind. We need to go to the
Gyro's
next
higher because he's flying.
Can we go to the last one by any chance? The higher stun average. Computer.
Oh, that'd be Gyro for
Higher
this
stun average?
Computer.
Our
You
coordinate
can
with
just
a
call them
basher.
fourth. Which heroes are you want to call fourth?
No, I don't know. It's supposed to be between Mars and Kunkka. I don't know if we have time for that, though.
Well, higher stun average between Gyro and Arcwarden, who has no stuns, is Gyrocopter. Easy.
Yeah, I'll agree with Effie and
I'll
say
tell you
this
what.
is a bait. It is Arcwarden.
You've had a very successful episode 1. We'll bring this back for episode 2 other time.
Is there a prize?
Thanks for playing!
That was awesome.
I hope there's a prize. I won.
We tied, actually.
No, because you were wrong and
Yeah,
you
but
wish
we're on a
factor.
team. We're on a team.
That's not how that
When we formed an
Do
alliance.
you know the team?
We might not be a team.
Do you want to team up as well?
Sure.
Okay, our team is better than their teams.
I know 2 people who are a team. It's Slacks and Casey.
It was better than their teams.
I know 2 people who are a team. It's Slacks and Casey.
Woohoo!
We're a team.
We are a team, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna go for a hug, but sure. No, don't do. What are you doing?
No problem. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the crowd, my friend. We are here live in Singapore with a fantastic crowd. This guy's eating the sandwich. Woo! My God, how is that sandwich?
It's amazing.
Okay, fantastic. Is it as good as the Dota games?
Sorry?
Is it as good as the game, the series that you just watched?
It might actually be better.
Oh my God! I don't know if that was the correct answer.
Good luck getting out of here, my friend.
Yeah, this guy's great. We're gonna move along. No problem. Well done, sir. Well done. Casey, you see anybody interesting over there?
Do I see anybody? I see a whole floor filled with interesting people.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow, guys, that was I was really trying to sell you there. That was your
Awesome.
chance. Let's try that again. I see a whole floor filled with interesting people.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me get something more directed out here. Sir. The entire Dota world is watching right now. More people than you will ever have the opportunity to talk to is listening. Is there anything you want to say to the Dota world at large?
I want to say that Dota 2 is an amazing game. And
Duh! Is there anything good that you'd like to say? Oh, come on.
and I want to say to my fiance, should have come with me here.
You're out of time. All right, fantastic. You should have come to the event. We're going to throw it back to the panel. Thank you so much. You should have been here. Oh, thank you very much, Slacks and Casey. As we welcome the teams back into the arena, you'd think that could have gone very differently, by the way, as well. So Slacks got a little lucky there. But I think we're getting lucky here as well, because we're getting treated to another game between these 2 Western European squads. We got Entity and Team Liquid taking the stage once again. Of course, Team Liquid 1 game up now. And it is, I believe, as far as coming back from a game, I feel like this was a fairly easy one for Entity to just shrug off. It's like, okay, guys, we had a plan. This plan didn't work. But Effie, they definitely have other plans as well. We know that.
We do know that, but I am pretty much feeling that Liquid's going to carry this momentum, just because I don't want to write off Entity. They are definitely an excellent team, but I do feel as the group stages have progressed and everything's kind of slowed down, people have had more time to figure out the Z strats, the Wraith Pact strats, which basically are what catapulted Entity into such success, right? They were the first team to do it in such a convincing fashion, and at this point, it feels like a lot of these heroes and a lot of these playstyles have already been dismantled 3 days into TI. So while I do think that Entity have a lot up their sleeve, I feel like Liquid are ready to win this one.
Yeah, Liquid, having 3-4 coaches, they are able to
pretty good.
Set up everything for success, and also being able to find out how Entity has been playing. This is the team with the lowest hero pool at the TI. So in terms of hero pickings, you know what's gonna come. Like, it's relatively easy to predict, especially if you have these big brainers behind you. But in terms of how Entity plays, like, their style is pretty, I would say, unique compared to some other teams. And yeah, seems like at least in game 1, Team Liquid did find a good solution to it.
You know what I want to see? Actually, I want to see the pure sniper. I feel like he is so good on that hero. And that hero has been underutilized, surprisingly.
Yeah, even though we've seen it win, I agree, it's still underutilized.
I I do think that they just give him something like that and try to channel that energy of when they first formed their team, and they looked on top of everything.
I agree, even though we are talking about how the fact that this Raid Pact group up, 5-man zoo meta has maybe
He's
been
the
figured
one that
out.
kills Raid Pact from a distance.
He's the one. But I do think, like, what do you do in a best of 3? Like, you have to go back to the basics, right? When you've been stomped in game 1.
You do go back to the basics. That is what traditionally happens on the main stage of the International. Now, of course, we have a chance of still having 2 games to this series, but that all depends on if we are going to be able to get a 3rd game out of it, and if Entity can win. Can they do it? That's a question that will be answered largely in the draft with MLP, John X Fire, and Gunner.
Entity versus Team Liquid. Game 2.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is MLP Dota, John X Fire, and of course the lovely Gunner Dota. We're going to head into Game 2's draft here between Liquid and of course Entity. Boys, you talked about it. The strategy is just don't choose our quarter.
Just statements, the best thing ever, you know. Just win the game, just stun the heroes, just get your items. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's simple. Just don't have it on, and then we'll see if they trust that way. Of course, they did try to make that Arc Warden work out, and it didn't quite work the way they wanted to. They tried to stall as best as possible, but we saw that aggression out from Liquid. Gunnar, what kind of adjustments should we see from Entity? Like, anything else to replace that Arc Warden for that pace? In fact, they go for the Lush themselves.
The Lush it's been having really good success, I think, more so even on the main stage than groups. Groups, I was seeing it have mixed bags, but I think teams started to kind of prioritize the hero a little more in terms of that it's their win condition. Even in the last game, Matu, top of the net worth, he's owning the game, he's destroying, but he's constantly looking for ganks, he's constantly infesting, and they're playing around that the Lush is going to be the one to win you the game. They're playing, he's going to get Bloodstone, he's going to win the game, so...
Ooh. Here we go again. I mean, you talked about that. It's almost like the fear of God, right? With the Enigma in the game, you don't need to press R, you don't need a black hole. You just need to be hiding somewhere in the fog. Entity, they will respond with an Undying, but that Enigma, it scares me. It's been banned out so often throughout TI11. Liquid, they keep getting away with it.
I think we saw Zai is 5-0 at the event right now with Enigma. So 100% win rate right now. Can we call the draft? It's over.
I mean, if it works, right? You don't change what isn't broken, and it does still feel like the threat of Zai just being there, the utility the Enigma brings, the lane domination it provides you to slow down the enemy core is still a big aspect of what Liquid managed to get out last time. Like, we saw a lot slower of a lane for Pure to come out. Like, he wasn't quite free farmed. He was forced to try to respond earlier, and he did still get a good Blink Massive Madness BKB timing coming out, but it just felt like Liquid got a lot more because of that Enigma lane.
And I think a big thing now is they snatch up Undying for Entity. So they already have 2 heroes that are very stable in the lanes. Leshrac will go 50-50 with most mid matchups, or can even go the safe lane and destroy. And Undying, you pick this hero and you tell your carry that you're gonna have a good lane. Don't worry too much. Even it has the flex. It can go in the off lane. It kind of has the same thing where you put him in the off lane, he buys 6 mangoes, he presses his decay over and over and over, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, it can be really aggressive, and I like that switch up from Entity. You know, we talked about it, play a little bit faster, try to match Liquid's pace. They've got the foundations for that. How do you build up though? Like for Liquid, Enigma Tusk doesn't reveal too much. There's still some flex the Enigma if they don't want to give it to Zai this time around. Which way do you want to see their draft go?
For the side of Entity?
For the side of Liquid.
Liquid, I think they should just keep doing very basic things where they're doing, where they just have Zai and Enigma. I think they shouldn't do much flexing. I know I've talked about how Enigma can go to the 5, but Zai kind of crushes every game with this hero. It's just some silent impact, constantly winning his lane, pushing out lanes with Eidolons, always getting this nice black holes that you don't need a 5-man black hole to win the game. He's always just great with the black hole usage. And I think the Tusk, I think Boxy's Tusk is really nice. I think when he plays these melee heroes, he's very enabled to just his Marcy, I think, is actually one of his best heroes. The way he plays the early game on these melee stuns are really nice. So probably just something that enables these heroes. Maybe looking for Matu, just a standard strength carry goes in. He's been playing a lot of Lone Druid, Pudge, Bloodseeker. I don't know if he's actually done the Bloodseeker yet, but I think something along those routes, and then giving Mickey just a nice ranged carry spellcaster mid. Like SF is what they've been usually doing a lot in the tournament. I think something along those lines are just gonna just the bread and butter. They don't need to do anything special.
Well, talk to me about the mentality right now. We saw the panel talk about it just for a moment there before they did throw to us, but Entity, I mean, they're one game down, they're one game away from being eliminated from TI11. Do you guys think they've reset? Like, is it that easy? I mean, obviously not, but how do you reset, and do you think they've managed to do it here?
It's not easy to reset, but
right.
The best way is to go out playing your style, playing your thing, and not changing everything at the last minute, throwing, you know, you've one game, you're like, let's just throw out the book, let's pick what Dota Buff says is the highest win rates, you know, let's just pick the best heroes in the game and just hope for the best. So I think probably they're going to play to just win their lanes, more so than they did the last game, and play their fast, as we said, the Wraith Pack, the Zoo style. I think that's kind of what they're aiming for. Just picking really stable lanes all across the board.
Yeah, and I think the one thing as well, it does feel like you don't have as much time to reset in between games, right? It does feel like the turnaround times rather quick. So it really tests how mentally strong a team is, because you don't have that interim period where you're allowed to pump yourself up a little bit more. And I think that's one of the bigger tests we've seen at TI, maybe contributing to a lot more of those 2-0 series here.
You can also see on the side of Liquid, I think they have a similar read. They're banning out the Visage Beast. They take the Enigma. So a lot of these Zoos, Wraith Pack buyers are kind of getting banned or snatched up. So it's kind of limiting Entity's pool right now for how they want to progress the draft in their way, in their style. Which is, it's pretty interesting. Even the Brood was banned in the first phase. So all these Zoos are kind of out of the pool.
Speaking of Zoo, while we have you, Gunnar, do you miss Necrobook?
I like Necro 1.
Okay.
And maybe 2. I think the true side of level 3 was a little questionable.
True. Yes.
You're a support player, I assume. You like being able to D-ward for free and have a gem.
You know why I'm a support player, Gunnar? Because Necrobook doesn't exist. I used to be a mid player. I used to be that Brood Mother spammer back in the day. You buy the Necrobook, you buy the Orchid, and you just terrorize everyone in the game. Now they took it away from me, Gunnar. I've got nothing. I've got to play Pulse 5 every game. It's sickening. Oh, we've got a Pudge in the game.
Yeah. They actually flex it between both. Both players play it in both lanes. Mickey's played it safe. He's played it mid. Matu also, I don't know if he's played it mid, but he's played it in the safe lane a lot. So a lot of options right now, which is pretty much Entity has to make the call of, do we think this Pudge is a mid or a carry? And, you know, if it's mid, do you want the Flesh versus it? The Fleshy, the numbers of the Lesh add up very similar to Fleshy for Edict. So there's 6-7 seconds in the fight where the Pudge is actually invincible for fighting the Lesh. And so, do you want this Lesh to be your mid versus the Pudge and have some weird timings? Do you want it to be your safe lane? This is kind of the 16-17, you make the choice in how the draft is playing out, and then after that, it's just filling in the holes.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there's a response sniper coming out instantly, along with the timing once more. So just going back to that, how do you feel about the sniper here? Like, it does feel like you're going to have some good distance here. Your best jump in is probably the Tusk with a snowball. Is it well protected enough to just have that standard sniper game?
Yeah, I think there's actually 3 factors of heroes that make it really cool for the sniper pick. One is it can go safe lane, and it lanes really well versus the Enigma. Shrapnel destroys. He also in the game, he is so far back that it's hard to black hole him, and anytime you black hole your team, you kind of just kill the Enigma. 2, it's that Pudge, he just kind of destroys. Pudge wants to always walk in the fight, and you just kill him. And 3 is that when people pick Pudge, they want to pick a ranged mid that carries the game, such as Shadow Fiend and Lina. And Sniper kind of outranges them and beats them. And Liquid still ends up wanting the Lina. They know that that's what they want for the draft. But Entity's also happy with how this is playing out for them.
Yeah, I like that. I like seeing that Lina come out. Do you think with Lina now, are we kind of secured and just saying this is the Pudge for Matumbaman, the safe lane now? Okay.
I think so. I think the only flex that they could do right now is seeing the Sniper and the Pudges being a stable laner. They can put the Enigma in the safe lane with the Pudge and pick a new off lane. But that's where it gets a little scary, because when you do a lot of fluxes, you're kind of giving them the opportunity that they pick strong heroes, and now your strongest heroes that you're picking really early are going to weaker positions and not being able to get everything that they want out of the game.
PSA to any new players, new viewers thinking about playing the game as well. If you do end up playing Dota, pick Sniper and just go the 6 Perseverance build. That's what everyone does when you first start. If you want the authentic Dota experience, that's what you've got to do.
That was years ago, man. That was years ago.
It's still... Guys, don't show my age, right? We're on the main stage.
That was back when it gave you 10 damage.
Yeah. That's some time ago
Good old
now.
days.
And that's when, you know, we were all just spam building on those 6 slots anyway. Like, what, 4 Wraith Bands? 6 Wraith Bands?
4 Wraith Bands is even better now. 25 minutes?
Yeah, it could be nice.
Wraith Bands.
There you go. You should have said Wraith Bands, Mike.
No.
Persevering.
No, I shouldn't have said Wraith
Bands. Yeah, but it's still old school. What do you mean? We just spammed Sanj and Yasha on every hero. That was the old days.
Yeah, I'm saying first game, Perseverance. It's so much value. You get the HP, you get the... you know what? Don't worry. Just go back into the draft.
We see another Zoo. I was considering the Lycan as well for Entity, but I think that's what 4 Zoo heroes banned, 1 pick for them. That's 5 out of the pool. Is there even any left? I can't think of any.
Only on like the support positions, right? Like Chen and Ench. But
yeah, that's
doesn't feel great when you already have Undying Tiny.
Brew's probably the closest. They just everything that has a summon, everything that buys a Wraith back has been banned out. Maybe Entity finds one. Doesn't look like one. I think this might be an Undying offlane based off of this Clockwork pick.
Yeah, I think that works out pretty well if you're expecting to punch safe lane as well. You can kind of just soften him up, take away a lot of his damage, and punish him when he does come in for the rod. Like, he's not going to have that HP to really play around with, although Flesh Heap's still going to be annoying, but Undying doesn't care too much. I mean, you just sap away strength. Entity with a Clockwork does give them reach into the backline as well, so not only do you have to worry about the snipers you mentioned for Enigma here, even the hook shot's going to be an issue with the BKB. On Enigma, not going to matter as much. Lina, going to be easier to catch out as well. It does feel like Entity, they've really worked in a really fast draft here.
Yeah, even the Sniper is a very fast hero. They have so much tower push between the Lesh, the Sniper, team fight from Undying. They have a bunch of strength heroes, which anytime you want to be fast, you need 1 to 2 or more because they have health. They don't need the items to buff them up. They just walk at the enemy and are strong.
Snapfire is the final pickup here. Both drafts completed. Boys, I love asking this question. It's the hard question for both of you. We'll start off with you, Jonathan, because you're used to answering the hard question. Who do you think came out with the better draft between these two teams?
I honestly really like Entity's draft. I feel like they've fixed issues from game 1. They've got a very solid way of playing really quick. And if they just play with that aggression this time with just having Stormer contribute a lot more, it does feel like their push potential and just their early team fights and how active that is going to be maybe overwhelming for Liquid if they're not careful.
On the side of Liquid, I think statistically, they should win. 100% winner. Stats never lie, but my only concern with Entity, I like their draft a lot, is the Lesh Sniper. The interaction where both of them kind of want to be slower and farm. He wants to get the Bloodstone on Lesh before really big moves, but Sniper's just a slow hero, movement-wise, so he has to walk and waddle away around the map, and everyone knows where he's doing and what's up. And we saw Aster. They had a great run, but
all right, with that, we are going to head over to Slacks.
Welcome to the panel here, my friends. We are here to talk to Metrum, the coach of Entity. How are the boys feeling? This is the first time I've had an opportunity to talk to you guys on the main stage, especially after a loss. Team morale okay? You feeling good getting into game 2?
I mean, it was a rough game, not gonna lie. Like, they completely destroyed us. But we instantly knew what was the problem in first game, so it's kind of easier to reset when you understand what you actually have to do, rather than reset when you like just don't know what's happening. So, like, we had some speech, we talked a bit, we talked a lot in this tournament already. Yeah, we hug each other. Like, I'm sure we going into this game with the right mindset.
All right, well, we'll see if that right mindset is enough to take us to a game 3. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our boys as we get into the game, and we'll throw it to the casters.
Thank you so much, Lex. We do get into it. Game number 2 here between Liquid and Entity. A hell of a draft from both sides. Can't wait to see how this one pans out. Seems like both of you guys were leaning towards Liquid just because of the 100% win rate. You'd like to say stats don't lie. Seems like the safe answer to me. Personally, I love the Entity draft, and I'm going to go against both of you here. What are we expecting? I mean, early level 1 team fights, is there any chance?
There is. Pudge is really strong level 1. Now, ever since they buffed the hook, there's so many times where you'll just smoke up, or you just hook the bounty rune and you'll just get a hero instead, and you just first blood's a lot more gold than a bounty rune.
Yeah, and you've got the Radiant side as well, so you could always go for the tree cut. If you want to trap someone in, doesn't quite look like Liquid's really prioritizing that. But they are putting themselves in a nice aggressive position. See if they find anything.
We'll see. Toby's going to frontline here on the Undying. Doesn't really want to take too much damage from this Lina, so it does seem like he might back off as Insania. Oh, that's going to be a nice shards. He's trapped 3 of them in there. Boxing with the perfect position. Oh, Toby's going to give away first blood, and that's a dangerous point to try and fight in when you're against a Tusk.
Yeah, they just get the perfect block from coming out, and Matoma, he's got the damage, as Gunnar said. Level 1 hook feels pretty damn good. That does give them a lot. Yeah, so much damage coming out. Just pure damage as well. So they lose a bounty, but they get a lot more in exchange.
And mid lane, I mean, Stormstormer against Mickey. Talk to me about it, kind of like this mid lane. Do you think one side or the other has an inherent advantage between these two heroes?
I think Lina has a pretty big advantage, but we've seen Lina's kind of fallen off recently in favor, at least in this tournament, because they nerfed her armor a little. I think she lost a little damage, so she's a lot more manageable than she used to be, but just the way these heroes both want to play the lane, it's very Lina favored. A lot of damage, Leshrac can't outrange you, you just get to hit him on and on and on and on, and he just has to sit there.
Yeah, it feels a lot easier for Mika to just work that lane. I mean, Stormstormer can kind of shove out the lane as well, but it's just going to drain his mana a lot more, and once that mana is gone, he can't harass like Lina does.
What about this top lane, boys? I mean, you've got Zai on that 100% win rate Enigma with Boxy on that pos 4 Slaughter, and they get a very nice shards off to block them in by the tier 1 tower, but can they punish Pure? He's taking a fair bit of damage here underneath that tier 1. Fishman, he's going to try and have a run here. Pure still dropping very low as Zai. He'll chase them down. Shrapnel's down to try and slow them up. Who are they going for? Pure, he's the one in danger. Boxy, has he got the shards? Oh, he's got it in 1 second. He should have the angle, and he does. Pure, he's trapped up. Have you seen that before? The shards block on the tier 1 tower. I've never seen that.
That was so cool. They know a lot of safe lanes now. They push in these first 2 waves, they get a double wave, and they dive the tower. They force you to walk away from the wave, give gold to XP. Boxy knows that. He pulls the wave before it gets tower, but Pure is already under the tower. He's prepping for this dive, and now he has no protection. He has nowhere to run. He just takes all the tower shots and goes down.
Oh, incredible. Go on, John.
Yeah, it's a great start for Liquid. We talked about this top for Zai, right? Like, it's supposed to be a bit tough. It's not looking that way. They're going again.
Again, Pure. It's important this time for him to survive. He has not got that mid-arc warden this time, so they are trying to at least save Pure. Boxy, he's just so aggressive, moving back in for some more hits, but Pure this time is going to survive, and kind of goes back to that point. It's so important for Pure to be the big man this game.
Yeah, even going on him constantly, he has no shrapnel charges.
Oh, no.
Oh, another nice shards with the snowball setup. Boxy trying to go for the body blocks into the Malphas. Pure is going to be able to walk away for now. He'll turn around for some Eidolons, but the way this top lane's going, it just seems like as long as they've got mana Liquid, they just don't need to slow down.
Yeah, they just force themselves forward. They are making this a bit of a slower lane for Pure. He is still finding his CS, but every single time you see Boxy come in, it's always a kill threat. And this is the Tusk without even the tag team up. Once you've got that, much easier to run them down.
Yeah, they're going again.
Again and
again and again.
Let's do it. Pure, sharded up, has nowhere to go. We'll try to man fight through this one, but the Malphas is there and Pure is gone. Fishman, he will try to punish, but with the tag team, he's slowed up. He might feed another kill away to the side of Liquid. Look at this. This is disgusting. Boxy, this is filthy from Boxy.
Oh, man. I mean, from first blood to this bloodbath in top lane, Boxy's just had so much impact. And this is the lane we expected the sniper to kind of do well in. You know, you just melt the Eidolons, you stand back, they've got the gap close with the Tusk, and it just doesn't feel like you're able to do much as Fishman here in the Clockwork. Like, yeah, he's blocking off, he's draining some mana, he's getting some good cancellations with a battery assault on the chase. It's just not enough to save them.
Yeah, Boxy's just been doing something magical in the melee for this whole tournament. He's just outstanding every game.
We should talk about the bot lane, I suppose. We haven't really looked at that whatsoever. You're going to have that pos 1 punch there against Toby and, of course, Kataomi. So the position 3 Undying. Matumba, he's been farming okay, but Toby, he's been farming a little bit better with that CS sitting at 19 and 6. And with the strength still, it seems kind of hard for Matumba to stick around. In fact, they're going to try and pincer him in this tree line. Toby, he doesn't know where he's gone. And Matumba, very nice juke out with the fog. They cannot catch him. Problem is, though, he's not finding any farm on this puck.
It's going to be a good lane for Undying. Again, this hero, his strongest suit right now is the lane. He just has a strong lane, he builds into the game. And on the side of Liquid, Matu is going to be a little sad, but he's not really the game winner. It's similar to Stormstormer last game. It's all on Mickey. He's not going to go for this magic build lane, I believe. He's just going to go probably for Boots of Travel or an Arcane Boots to do a BKB, maybe a Silver Edge. And he's going to be the tower. He's going to do everything for you. So Matu just needs to survive and find his way in the game.
Boxy, this time around in a bit of danger. Fishman going to try and punish this Tusk as the battery is not doing so much damage. It is going to wear off. Boxy, he does have the brown boots up, so he will be able to outrun the Clockwork back towards the Roshan. He'll salve up. He's going to be just fine.
Yeah, just bails out, wastes a little bit of time from Fishman.
Or is he? Snowball is there. He's going to try and buy a little bit of time for himself as Pure was going for a creep wall. In fact, now he's going to try and fight this one out. Zai trying to come in and help out. Boxy still going. Tag team is there. Pure, he's the one in danger. They just turn it right back around to the side of Entity, and Pure, he's just getting blocked to oblivion. Kataomi, he's going to show up, but he hasn't got the damage. They're still trying. Fishman, he'll finally get lucky with the battery assault, but he might drop now. Zai is still chasing. Do they have a Maleficus up? They do. Fishman still running, but it's not going to be enough. Boxy, boxy, boxy.
I mean, he was so close to living as well. Like, the snowball was just off cooldown. He might have been able to just get out and just find Fishman without dying. Boxy again. Forcing so much.
Boxy, stop it. I thought he had another one.
It's all over the map. And for Entity, we're not seeing that kind of play out from the supports. We're just not seeing as much impact out from our Clockwork, out from our Tiny, and it's not their fault, although they're trying now.
Well, they've got a decent target. Cogs will be there with the battery assault. Matumba now in danger, and it seems like they will let him die. It's still a decent pickup, but like you mentioned, he's not the carry this game.
Yeah, I think Matu's been having a similar game to Pure, but it's just not as... It doesn't look as bad because he's not dying.
Right. Oh, Stormstormer. Mid lane ends up getting Lacuna down by Mickey. Looks like Boxy was around to help out. That's a fantastic kill for the side of Liquid.
100% kill participation on Boxy. All 7 kills. Not even 7 minutes in the game. And just running around constantly.
Yeah, he's just making work happen on map. Entity trying to set their eyes down bot here.
He is caught.
They have found him. Toss is there onto the creep with the cookie away. In comes the Clockwork for Zai. He's joined the fray. He does have Black Hole, but Fishman, he's going to find the Enigma. There's no chance for him to be able to get this one off, so Zai will drop. A nice pickup so far for Entity. They might lose Fishman, but it's going to be a decent trade. In fact, he's still getting out of there. Scatterblast will slow him down, but in the end, he will go. As Stormstormer, he shows up. Boxy's around, but against the Undying with the Tombstone, it's too hard of a team fight that they're still going to try with this little shredder. They'll take it out, but they are losing bodies left, right, and center. Liquid, they'll lose a third now, maybe even a fourth. As Insania, he was the initial one getting caught out, and eventually he'll be the last one to get caught out.
Really good rotations coming out from Entity. They wrap around for a long time down bot. It looks a little bit awkward to start off with, but it does pay off dividends. You are getting space out here for Liquid onto Matumba, but considering all you find with Stormstormer around, that's a good gold injection for Arlesh.
This is just nice. They fully wrap around the tower. Clockwork's in. Zai's just expecting to TP in those trees and get a black hole from the tree line, get a free kill, but he TP's in. Clockwork's already on him. He just gets solo killed almost by the Clockwork and doesn't press black hole, and now this whole top lane is... They're kind of feeding away the gold.
Yeah. It does feel like you're reeling it back in here for Entity, staying in this game. You're buying space out for Pure as well. He's managed to just stay in the jungle away from this activity, and Stormstormer is the one just working the map with that Lesh. For Liquid, you don't have the lead. You're still 9-6. Are you recovering enough? Is this the point where you just kind of look at Matumba to start to get tankier? In fact, looking for more.
Fishman can get caught out. We'll go for the Cogs. Boxy is there with the tag team and a very strong avalanche from Kataomi. Was it going to matter? Like, the turnaround is there. Cookie is going to allow him out for Fishman. He is barely going to be able to survive with his life intact.
I think there's not going to be much on Matu. He didn't even go for the Vanguard this game. He went for the Hood, noticing how much magic damage is on Entity. So he's just probably going to play for his really big timings. I think Ags is probably where he looks to join the game. I would actually be surprised if he ends up going BKB after his phase boot, just a first item BKB, and just all-in commit for this Lina, doing everything for you.
Yeah, we'll see if that's something Matumba will want. There was a little bit of pressure coming out on the mid. Entity, again, still clumping around. It's rather interesting for Entity to keep taking this aggression as well. We don't even have a hook shot coming out yet on Fishman. Once you have those initiation angles, it does feel like the game gets a lot easier. They do spot Insania out for a moment there with the Tiny on Kataomi, but not going to be able to really run in just yet. And just goes back to this equilibrium state of farm. Zai shoving up top, though.
TPM. They are going to try and defend this one. TPs are coming. Stormstormer, he'll come from the backside, looking at Matumba. Dismember, going to help him out a bit. Back the snowball in. They're going to try and force the fight. Stormstormer, he might be the one to get caught out and may drop it. No, he will not. They'll take Matumba. They'll find Boxy. It'll be a double kill for Toby. And it just seems like every fight with the Undying in it is a fight that Liquid just can't take.
Yeah, the tower's so low. At some point you start to expect, oh, they're giving up the tower for free. We don't have to worry about it. But TP in just the last second, get the catch. Lesher, I thought Stormstormer was dead, but a nice toss back gives him that little reset in the fight. He doesn't die to the rot.
Yeah, and I saw the confidence in Matumba. You know, he pops open that Hood of Defiance. Level 1 Flesh Heap, not the biggest damage block, but he figures we could go for this kill. Doesn't quite shape up. And Entity started to, again, find that punishment. They take these fights so far away from the sniper. They get that build-up they want on Stormstormer with his activity. And for the moment, it doesn't feel like Liquid's able to really match up just yet. Smoke out from Mike and from Boxy, though. They've got that Aether Lance up on Mike. A little bit more reach out from the Lina, but might just be Boxy scouting out here alone.
It looks like Mickey's going to go for the magic build. I thought he was going to go for the physical to be a carry, but I think their logic right now is you can one-shot the sniper at some point in the game if you go magic build, or even the Lesh. And probably if you kill the sniper, everyone else will die at some point to the Enigma and the Pudge. And so he doesn't really need to be this right-clicker. He can just play to kill one hero, good enough. That's just make it a 45 off the bat, just survive, maybe stun once or twice, and play off the fight.
And I think that's a big one for Mickey. Switching out for that magic. We'll see if it does pay dividends. You still have to worry about the magic damage coming out from Entity as well. You see Zai just kind of farming around in that jungle, being scouted out by Fishman. They're still managing to hold Liquid off from really getting too much more done in the invasions here. And they are still buying that space out. At what point do you feel like for Liquid that they've kind of allowed Pure to farm too much and it starts to become a threat in that sniper?
Maybe once he gets his item after Dragonlance. So I think he just finishes his Maelstrom now. Once he gets the Dragonlance, he does damage, but it's after that.
Fishman getting caught out. Mid lane, Laguna, not going to be enough yet. Eventually he does drop a box. He had to stick around so long that they will trade quite effectively here for Entity. Again, Toby shows up at that right moment with the Tombstone. It just doesn't allow them to fight back. Liquid, I'm not sure, are these fights in their favor?
It's hard to say. Entity has the range in the fights. They have the sniper and the Lesh, and they have the burst, but they're going to constantly make these aggressive moves, like on Matu and bot.
Yeah, this one's definitely in their favor, or is a Dismember. Is going to be them at Matumba. He'll try to fight back. A very nice cookie up from Insania. Now the turnaround with the Mortimer's Kisses. Stormstormer, he could try to run, but there's no escaping. Just rains fire on the Lesh rack. And it seems like Entity, they had no other response to it.
That's just sick from Insania. Coming in at the right time, cookies at the right time, and the kisses on point. Very close for Matu. Gets at least a second off the Dismember, so gets a little bit of healing, just enough to get out there.
You also see how strong the Flesh Heap is now versus Lesh. Every tick of the Lesh only does 20 damage when the Flesh Heap's active, so really tanky versus the hero.
Sounds very, very balanced indeed.
It's fun.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
Fun is balance.
Yeah, absolutely, and Dota is supposed to be a fun game, so that's how we balance around here. Of course, for Entity, I mean, it's not all gloom and doom. They're still having these massive stacks being taken here by Stormstormer. His Bloodstone doesn't feel like it's going to be too long, although the timing isn't maybe as fast as what we saw from Mika in Game 1. It's still going to be there. And once you do have that frontline sustain, all that damage coming out from Stormstormer, you can make some work happen. You do have the full raid pack up on Zydo. So again, we're reaching that point where the Enigma is just going to be holding back a lot of what Entity will want to do up front there.
Yeah, the big difference is Pure is top net worth now after that rough lane. 3 deaths in the 1 lane, and he's also very good versus Wraith Pack. One of the things his sniper is, he can just kill the Wraith Pack very quickly, not much to worry, and he is hard to jump. It's going to be on the back of probably Boxy, who ends up going for a Force Staff. I think Force Staff's really nice versus the Clock, versus the Lina versus the Tiny, but no Blink. They're not really going to have any of these Blink daggers to catch the sniper in the early game, so it's a lot of just maybe wrapping around on the sniper, catching him first, or just trying to fight away from him where you see him on the map.
The smoke up behind Mickey, they're going to rotate into that dire triangle. Oh, they'd love to find Stormstormer, but he's quite low. He's going to go for a reset back at the fountain. Got a nice timing here for Stormstormer, just clearing out the triangle while he could. Instead, maybe into the mid lane they go. They'd love to find a pick-off and perhaps move into that tier 1 mid tower. Thing is, Toby is the one they'd have to aim. He's hiding in that tree line for now. It's just not going to be that easy to try and burst down this Undying. Unless Matumba, he could try. A shot will give the vision. Mortimer's Kisses are out. Snowball is there as well from Boxy, trying to buy a bit of time as they do go back into Fishman. The Clockwork still surviving. Meanwhile, in comes the cavalry. Stormstormer, he finds Insane Insania. Everyone's getting tossed left, right, and center. In goes Toby. He wants a little bit more, just taking so much strength away. And it seems like this time for Liquid, they just can't force the fight, but they do find Fishman. Toby, he'll keep going, but they don't have the lockdown for any more.
Yeah, you can just see the response out from Entity. Instant TPs in the moment they see these heroes break out from the smoke, and they just commit to hold off. They know how important that mid-tier 1 is. They just toss all their bodies, and Liquid, they just don't have enough to really get it done. They also kind of fragment themselves inside. Like we saw Insane just trying to target out the tombstone, couldn't really do much.
It's also just how strong a dying is when you dive. You go past, your team kind of gets stretched out, the tombstone gets dropped, you can't kill it because not everyone's around it. And then you just keep slowing, the tiny TP's in, you get shrapnel, and just so much slows for when Liquid has to chase, just walking in.
See what they can do now. Liquid falling a little bit further behind. 2k net worth now, the way of entry, and you already talked about this, but Pure just escalating out of control now with that net worth, and just a struggle to find what kind of anti you have for this sniper. The Toby just doing such a fantastic job on the Undying, second in net worth right now, and just so tanky, so hard to deal with, and it's just not the target you want to try and burst down first, but Toby's just giving them no options whatsoever. So Liquid maybe feel like they're a little bit trapped at the moment, maybe need to slow down the pace of the game, get a few more items up, but it's kind of hard to know exactly what they need at the moment.
The only item they can really wait for is his Pudge Axe. Everything else is, even the Lina Axe 3,000 gold away, the Enigma Blink is 1,000 gold away. You don't want to wait for so many different timings that probably once they get the Axe, they're going to smoke up and look for a fight.
Yeah, they've got to build off the back of Matu, and that nice timing you do get with a Pudge, the damage output he does have on hand. It does feel really tough. I think, talking about Toby again, he does have the look sort of up. They do get a good hook here.
And Insania. Get caught out, he'll try to run towards the north and try to juke out Fishman, but it's just so hard with the battery assault. Even the tombstone being dropped just in case they needed the vision, and Toby, he'll take his 5th kill of the game. Got it.
It's just getting way too much in this Undying. Again, he's got the Lotus Orb up. He's already got a casual cloak up, going to the Hood of Defiance. And with all the strength he's stealing, with the way he has to save his teammates from the snowball potentially, it's going to feel really hard for Liquid to kind of come in. All their control, most of it, is single target outside of Snowball, not the most reliable to catch a group, or the LSA. So you're always going to have some value from just that Dispel coming out, and Toby's just been really, really massive in the front line.
Yeah, and on the side of Liquid, they don't really have the front line right now. Matu hasn't had the opportunity to group up with his team and be this body. He just... The one time they did it, they won the fight. In the jungle, he jumped and they turned it on Stormstormer. But outside of that, he's kind of had a... He's had to struggle trying to find the front line.
He's still grouped up. Everyone just hanging around Pure, making sure the sniper remains safe. They're going to find a double damage rune with a smoke up. This could be perfect timing for Entity. Liquid are hanging around, though, on the high ground, just waiting to see if somebody does take the rune away. In fact, never mind, they don't have the vision. Boxy did not see it. In fact, now, Mickey, he's the one to get spotted out, but they can't hold him down. Stormstormer, he will move in, but again, just doesn't see the angle. That'll be about it. They won't be able to abuse the double damage quite yet.
Really close to getting tossed back all the way in, but thankfully for Mickey, he walks away, doesn't get tossed. And dodging a gank, that was the Leshrac Bloodstone timing. That's the biggest timing for the hero. You get this item, you want to go fight constantly for the rest of the game. And they weren't able to get a catch with it.
Yeah, it's missing out a little bit on time, giving Liquid a little bit more room to breathe. They've got their own Ags up now in Matu. So the Pudge is kind of ready to go if they find something here.
Hook shot in, very, very nice from Fishman, finding the angle, but there's Insania. Get the cookie away. They turn this one around. No, that's a big avalanche up from Kataomi, but where's your follow-up? In comes Pure. He's got the double damage. That's Saigon. We find more. Snowball in. Boxy has no choice in the matter. He's going to go down. Kisses are still going, but Pure, he jukes them out for now. They just don't have any more follow-up. In the meantime, they do at least find Toby. In they go again, though. Insania, he's being targeted, and he'll be the 3rd target to go down for the side of Liquid. They only find one in the mid lane.
It's just a little bit too fragmented. You're super strong on Matu. He just melts through Toby in the mid, but he's not there to help his team. He's not there to try to, do a little bit more damage, poke them down with a rod. And they were just really clumped up there from the side of Liquid up top.
There's a nice ward on the cliff, which is what lets them get the Roshan Boxy. But nice disengage. You see what Liquid wants to do? They want to kite them into this ward. They want to keep running backwards, and the second entity went too far, they want to turn. But nice avalanche, big 4-man stun into toss, and once that happens, everyone's caught up from Entity. They're all grouped up now. Now Liquid's the one fighting into the Entity.
Just didn't feel that good in the end. I mean, the idea was good. Just doesn't quite shape up. They've got the blink on Zai. We still haven't seen a black hole this game. Again, not the biggest thing for the Enigma anymore, but it does feel like in those situations you're looking for that lineup. Or maybe just, again, targeting Pure as we saw in Game 1, where Zai would just kind of find an angle around and take away that big core. Pure is starting to feel like that massive core. He's working onto the BKB next, and we just saw his damage output. Sure, with a double damage rune, but yeah, if you can't gap close on the sniper, he just does so much.
And that fight enables him to get this BKB now. He's about 700 gold away, and now Lina's going right, or magic damage, not right click. Pudge is all magic. Tusk is mostly magic. Who's going to kill him in the BKB? Do you black hole? He might not even die in a black hole BKB.
Very, very fair point. Liquid gotta find some answers here. Entity just gonna keep doing what they're doing. 3k advantage, 13 to 15, 21 minutes in. Seems like as the game goes on, the sniper just becomes a bigger and bigger issue. And even if you gain the lead as Liquid, trying to go high ground against the sniper Undying and the Leshrac, it's just never gonna be easy. They do hang around across the map on both sides. Neither side really wanting to try and force a fight. We'll see a casual scan out on the Roshan pit, but nobody hanging around there either. And it seems like the Axe is on the way very soon for Mickey. It's got a lot of cast range with that neutral item as well as the Aether Lens. Just cast from a mile away, and it's going to be a very nice feeling for Mickey to just not have to be too close. Let's see what they can get done with this Axe.
Yeah, 2 big items picked up, which is why they go smoke. They get the blink on the Pudge. Now they have a hero to go in, stun, create chaos, and then the Lina Axe, which is a crazy amount of damage. It's 35% spell amp. You also take, or 35 magic resistance and 30% spell amp. So now, this is how the sniper gets one shot. He gets stunned for half a second, Laguna, all the nukes. It does, I think it'll do around 1800 damage and just kill the sniper in one hit.
It's going to be massive, but that BKB Pure is flying out. So it's all about timing. It's all about pinning him down in that window and just bursting him down right afterwards. Immediate smoke out now from Entity with her own item picked up. And it's going to be an interesting position for Liquid right around that ramp area once more.
Oh, in we go. 4-man smoke up. Entity running right towards Liquid, but Boxy, he's around with the vision. They'll see the Undying. So Liquid know they need to back off, but Entity, they are still trying to rush forward. Have they got the advantage? They've got the high ground, and they'll move into Matumba Man, but a Cookie is going to be there. Tombstone immediately being targeted, but it's not going to be enough from Insania. They're still trying. It looks like the Snapfire does get caught out, but that's only the pos 5 of Liquid. You'd like a little bit more for your trouble if you are Entity, but it seems like that's all they're going to be able to afford to get.
So hard to fight when he drops the Tombstone on the high ground. You don't really have anyone who wants to hit it. The Snapfire can hit it. You miss once or twice, Tombstone's not going to die to you purely, so how do you fight around these Tombstones on the high ground?
Yeah, it just feels impossible. Like, we've seen that twice over now in almost the same area where they're just kind of forced to back off on Liquid. Zentobi just being a massive beast on that Undying. Perfect positioning in all of these fights. Entity's still not done though. The double smoke out here, Stormstormer and Katomi want to find more, but no one hanging around down bot. Liquid just kind of playing it safe, getting their farm up elsewhere. What other items can we see? Like, you are going for the BKB on Matu, as he called out there, so just going to look to try to be active. It is after the Axe though.
Yeah, at some point they just need a hero that once they know that Entity's running at them, the hero doesn't turn and run and wait for anything. They need Pudge, they need Matu to see 4 heroes running at them, press S, stand there and stare at them, and walk at them. And so far it hasn't happened. That's why they're constantly walking backwards. Even when they have full vision, they have to keep walking backwards. Mickey doesn't want to do it. Sayo doesn't want to do it. Boxy doesn't really want to be the one. He wants to save the one with the snowball. And so a lot of it's going to be on whether Matu feels strong enough to be that frontliner.
Right now, he certainly doesn't feel like he does. Maybe a bit more time with the BKB to come out. Zai narrowly avoiding any kind of hookshot attempt there from Fishman. Blinking back towards the south. More defensive itemization from Liquid, as you do see Insania now with the 4-staff up. Looking at Pure, just going for the full damage build as well. Scary stuff, just going right into the Daedalus, and that's going to be very, very concerning. Like, if you can't find this guy, he's just going to delete your whole team.
Also going for the stats over Assassinate.
Oh yeah.
Pure damage.
Yeah.
All about the right clicks.
Nice pun, Gunner.
We've seen that a couple times, you know. If you don't need the Assassinate, if you don't need that longer reach, it really doesn't feel like Entity has to, because no one's really highly mobile on the side of Liquid. You just go in the stats, you fatten up, you get a little bit more durable for Pure, and you just get so much more out of it as well. Liquid, for their part, again, waiting for those items to come in. They're working towards a blink now for Mickey. So just going to have a little bit more follow-through to jump in when needed or jump out when needed and just kind of dance around. They're also They are saving up for the blink on Boxy. So again, that blink save from the Tusk or blink initiation is also going to be up there. With this stall out in time, though, does it feel better for Entity? It does feel like they're getting a lot more from this time.
I think it feels better because Matu isn't really getting health with the BKB. He's getting the ability to not get comboed by all the stuns and spells. But Pure's buying damage. So now that Matu's not really buying the health, the matchup of being able to survive the damage is kind of going Entity's favor until the plate mail. But that's, you're asking Matu to get 5,000 gold when they're already 5,000 gold back.
It's a one easy ask.
It's a huge gap to kind of clear out. And, Pudge does farm fairly fast, but it's still going to take some time. And he's still sharing that space with Zai and with Mike. Both of them are kind of occupying the jungle as well. Anything else that kind of helps Liquid out here? Entity, it does feel like they've got almost everything lined up. But what, maybe, is there like a fast, quick fix item timing that we're looking for on Liquid's end?
I don't know if it's so much an item timing rather than getting the proper jump and vision. Because again, you need the frontliner for vision. They don't have any heroes that provide vision besides the Pudge bodying up. So if they catch the sniper, he will die to the Lina. He will die to, Tusk Lina combo, just the two of them. And it's just hard to see him. You'll never see him. He'll always be in the back. He has so much vision and range on the sniper. Even at night, he has 1800 vision. So just the inability to catch him is the issue.
He's still grouped up, pretty much as 4, just not splitting up, just really just frontlining and making sure Pure can farm. That's literally all they're doing is staying in front of Pure, just making sure that nobody can gank him up. Stormy will take care of the side lane. Liquid, they're doing a very, very similar thing across the map, just sticking as a team, not trying to give any openings away to Entity. It's clear they have some timing they're looking for, maybe even the blink to come out on both Foxy and Mike very, very soon, but you are giving Pure that time to get that Daedalus up. And, well, like you said, if you catch the sniper, it's not, who cares if he has Daedalus? He's not going to be able to use the damage anyway, but for now, they are going to smoke up. As 4, towards the top side they go. Who do they find? Zai, link away immediately. Matumba, he might be a bigger target here for Entity as they do try to make their way through to the right-hand triangle, but Matumba, great read on the movement, and now the hook, it's not going to be on target. Entity, they'll try to force Roshan instead.
Yeah, they've got the time to do that, but there is a lot of AoE out from Liquid with the BKBs here and blinks.
Oh, hookshot wasted just on an illusion, so at least one spell's down for Fishman, at least for the next minute. Roshan is still being targeted. They're trying to abuse that Tombstone and Flesh Golem timing here on the Undying. Liquid, can they fight this one out? Insania is going to make his way in, but does Cookie away. It seems like they have so much trouble getting close. Roshan, though, is still relatively healthy. They've still got time. Half HP here for the Roshan as Liquid. Still hanging around. Shards are there. Smoke is out. Liquid, can they make it in time? They're going to rush for it. There's the kiss. Matumba, he's in, but Pure, he's the one to pick the Aegis up. They will not get away with it. Kataomi, he is going to drop as Matumba. He's trying to tank for the team. A bit more time, and now the black hole. Zai, he's only got 2 of them, but it's set up perfectly. They cannot save a Pure. He's trying to man up through it. He does take down one. Aegis is gone onto the left rack. They've got Mike on the Lina. He is going to drop. Pure, he'll just keep going for more now as Zai does get caught as well. A full team wipe for Entity.
They play it so clean. Liquid, they try to find the flank. They might find a full team wipe here.
This is a dieback on Boxy. If he is caught, he'll go for a snowball out, and he is gone. That'll be a dieback immediately for Boxy.
That hurts. That's his blink dagger. That's what you need the blink to catch the sniper. Even in that fight, you see Matu has the blink to the hit. If he gets that Aegis, maybe the whole fight's different. But now you've committed so much into the Roche pit that Mickey gets a kill, the support buys back. They kill the clock, he buys back too. The supports don't really matter. It's just so hard for them to keep constantly fighting into the Undying.
Yeah, it's just so tough, and they did find a good angle. You did see Zai try to be really patient in that black hole, but doesn't really manage to catch enough for that massive impact you'd want, and Pure managed to reposition himself further in the pit, so he had more usage out of that Aegis, and it takes way too long for Liquid to kind of get on top, and Entity just punished so nicely.
We're going to find Insania on that Snapfire. Full staff away, not going to be enough. Entity really feeling themselves now. They just want to keep this aggression up. They understand how much more powerful they are. Even without the Aegis, they might just go for these tier 2 towers. Seems like they are setting up for the mid-tier 2 now. Don't really have a creep wave to go off, but They are just going to stick around and control this map. Make sure Liquid can't catch up in this net worth.
When you go Magic on Lina, a lot of your damage is based on your cooldowns. You're not constantly sitting there right-clicking every single time, so your damage isn't consistent. It's very high in bursts, but you have to wait 4 or 5 seconds and you do it again. And in the fight, Zai black holes and Mickey wasn't there. He wasn't able to nuke, he wasn't able to burst the Leshrac. Leshrac survives the whole black hole. Pure doesn't even die at the beginning of the fight either. He gets to hit for 10-15 seconds and then he just respawns with Aegis anyway. So it's mostly about just connecting Mickey to the fights at the right time. He was struggling to deal with Katomi on the Tiny for the beginning of the fight, and him and Matu have to just connect. Every single time in the fights, they have to connect.
Yeah, we go again. Matamba, he does get spotted, forced to BKB up, but can't really utilize that BKB whatsoever apart from escaping.
What a great item Ogre Seal Totem is. It's just a tumbler totem, but even better. You'll always see the hero and they pause for like that half second where they're cast pointing it and then a little bounce into bounce.
It's an amazing animation to always watch. That blink you mentioned on Boxy is up and running. We've got a wave coming in, although.
They've got him again. This time, no BKB available. Matamba, can he survive through? He'll pop the flesh column, but it's just so much damage flying in from Pure. He is going to melt. The tier 2 bot is completely open now for Entity.
It's getting a little bit tough for Liquid. It just goes back to maybe Mika going for that magic buildup and the earlier BKB use from Matu. Now high ground's opened up. They can try to death. They don't have the Tread Black Hole in the defense just yet. It will be up. They still have the Blink Snowball saves if they want to kind of take a risk. Entity though, they do look confident this one.
Yeah, this game there's no Tiny on the side of Liquid to kind of delay these high ground pushes. Every time the Entity wants to walk up and just hits the tower, if Lina's not there, there's not much to force you away besides the Pudge, and Pudge is dead. So free damage, free tower, they force the glyph out. Really big glyph now because there's not going to be a glyph for a long time. Unless they take this tier 3 tower in any lane, no glyph for the next 5 minutes.
And that just allows them on Entity to really take control of the map, start to shut down that bot jungle, prevent Liquid from dipping outside and trying to get any additional build-up. 16 to 24, 12k lead out for Entity. They've bounced back really well. Looks like they have managed to reset, change their game plan, and just put up a much bigger fight up against Liquid. If you're Liquid right now, you know you go back to that Magic Lina, you go back to this Pudge core. What else is there? Is it still down to just trying to catch the back line?
It's still all just about catching the sniper. They have the 2 blinks online, I guess 3 with the Pudge. 4. They have 4 blinks. You know, NA math, it's hard to count sometimes. And it is all about catching the sniper. He has a Linken's now to block the Laguna Blade. It's pretty hard to pop the Linken through BKB. So, is it even possible to catch him? If you catch him now, he has so many defensive tools. The Tiny can toss him away, he can force him away. And once you have to commit so far to just catch the sniper, that's where all the slows come out, all the stuns, all the AoE that... Even if you kill the sniper, maybe you just get cleaned up.
It just gets really difficult in stopping Pure from just doing what he wants in this game. And in that point, Entity, they're just going for the tier 2s. Nothing to stop them from Liquid's end. Liquid trying to get a bit of a shove out themselves up top, but the fortified is still there to stall. Entity do manage to, again, shrink that map down even further and just really have a great game. For Liquid, that jump angle onto Pure, it just doesn't feel great. Maybe down the line, if Boxy, say, picks up an Axe, he could have options, but that doesn't feel like it's going to be coming out anytime soon, if at all.
There's a nice scan out. They know they're in the Radiant Triangle right now, so Liquid immediately dissipating and just trying to get back towards the fountain. Just avoid a Stormstormer. He's going to rush forward, but won't be able to find Boxy. He'll be just fine to TP away, back towards his team. And they'll just try and get another part of the map. It's all you can do right now. Just play the avoid game as we see Mickey. He's got even more Magic Amp now on the Lina. But you kind of already said it. He can already one-shot them as it is.
It's the ability to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's not the damage. Damage is not the issue for Liquid. It's just doing the damage.
Boxy, he's in. Kataomi, he'll be the one snowballed out. Boxy, he's going all across the bot. It will end up going down. Liquid, is this really the fight? It doesn't seem like it. They're going to try and back out. Entity, they're the ones that try to force it. Once again, Liquid, it seemed like they were trying to go for some kind of initiation, but nobody was really ready for it.
Don't manage to hook up in time, or maybe just kind of stalling tactic out from Boxy. and just try to buy its time for his team to make that executive call to group up or back off. And just going back to make it right. Like, he has so much damage. I think the one thing with the E-Blade, at least, you've got Lincoln's Popper. If you do feel that need to jump onto Pure, bait the BKB out, and just waste the Lincolns, provide an opening perhaps for Matu to come in with his BKB Dismember. I think the one thing with that is that it doesn't feel like Matu's that tanky. I mean, he's got the plate mail up. He doesn't have the highest HP in the world. Mind you, if you do manage to dismember the sniper, you don't really need to worry about any other source of big physical damage anyway. It's really just the Leshrac kind of twacking away at you. So there could be value there, but in the execution, Entity, I think it's more about Entity just being able to play this way, where Pure is just so far out that Liquid just never finds the angle.
Yeah, it is honestly all about this angle, and it feels like it keeps getting smaller and smaller as the game goes. Sniper is this kind of hero where the later the game goes, the harder it is to catch him, because it's not that he gets weaker, it's that everyone else just gets stronger. Everyone else has more tools to save him or to stun you or to kind of disable and catch him. It's only when it gets to the very, very late, where now on the other side, Liquid now has 6 items on every single hero. They have the Ags and the Tusk. That's when it kind of flips back to their favor. But Boxy's having a rough game. He hasn't been able to get much farm. He's had a lot on his shoulders after this amazing early game he had. It hasn't really kind of transferred into this mid lane game.
I remember speaking to some of the boys from Liquid as well just before the series started, and I did ask them, is this going to be an action-packed game? And they said, well, ask Entity. We're the ones that want to fight. And right now, it's kind of the opposite way. Liquid, they're the ones that just want to try and stay away from this dire side. And I suppose that plays into the hand of Entity, because they are a team that enjoys playing a slower-paced game. They're not afraid of going into the later stages. And Liquid, they're in a position where they're forced to try and play that game that Entity already enjoys playing. It's kind of like you're in their arena and they've got the buff. Here is Entity. But to be fair to them, they are the ones chasing right now as they do draw out some lights down at the bottom side. Liquid, they are going to go for a 4-man smoke. Let's see if this one pays off. Kataomi, he's ready on the high ground to break the smoke, and they've got some decent vision in that triangle, at least for the Entity side.
Nice scout by the Eidolon. He's going to see them all.
It is Matumba. He's going to jump in. They see Toby first. They're trying to blow up with the Lagoon. That's a lot of damage. They've got Toby and they've got Fishman. Now the Black Hole is out. They've got the Leshrac. It's only one, but it's a big target. Boxy in the meantime, he has gone down. He's going to try and burst down this Tiny. Matumba still taking through all the damage to the Cookie. It's not going to land with the hook shot. It is Kataomi trying to run away with the Sill Totem. He's going to make it out. Matumba, he is going to go down. Meanwhile, towards the north side, still trying to run, but the battery assault! Oh, Fishman barely in time. Is gonna make it. Who wins out the team fight? It does seem like it's Entity once again.
Yeah, again, they have to buy back on both supports. Every fight, it seems Entity wins. 2 supports have to buy back, but it doesn't really matter. The cores keep getting bigger and bigger, and there's how do they black hole? The Leshrac's black hole for free for 4 seconds. They no stops, and he takes 200 damage total during the whole black hole. They have nothing for the BKBs.
Yeah, it just goes back to that. Going for the Magic Lina, going for Core Pudge. Once the BKBs are up, you just don't have a way of piercing. And if that happens to the Lesh, you can expect that same thing to happen if Pure was around as well. Like, the Sniper has the same defensiveness once the BKB is up. Liquid, they've got to find a way to fix that issue. Is there any way to fix that issue, though? You've gone all in on Magic.
There is a 25 talent for Lina. It makes it Pure and Pierce BKB. And that's maybe 1 kill, but the counter to 1 kill is an Aegis. So for the side of Entity, they're going to pick up this Aegis. They're going to get the Shard. Toby's going to take it. This is the second Roche, guys. That's the big one. That's where games are ended.
And goes Entity now. See if they want to try and force the end. There's still a T2 tower at this top lane, but they can easily get through it with the damage of Pure. Even a Scythe device now up and available for Stormstormer. So much more control from this Leshrac. He isn't with his team yet, but he's got those BOTs up, so he can join at any time. Do they want to continue? It's just so much time on the Aegis, they may as well just kind of get themselves together, maybe go for a bit of a fight before they try for the high crown. You look back at Mickey, he's still trying to maximize the magic field, looking to go into the Octarine core now. Like you said, I mean, somehow you've got to clean out the BKBs throughout the fight. That's the only way for Liquid to take them. Entity, they just don't seem concerned whatsoever. They've had full control over this game for pretty much the last 20-25 minutes, and we're still looking for an answer here. I suppose this is a bit of a silly question. There's no way Mickey can kind of transition now to a right-click build anyway. It's way too late for that.
It's a little too late. At this point, it's just playing for the 25. I could even see him, instead of going for the Octarine, going for a Refresher, and just hoping for the ability to just press Laguna twice, do like 2,000 something magic damage, pure damage, and just kill a hero. But it's a hard ask. You're asking for a lot.
Yeah, it's really risky as well if you don't manage to get that burst down, because you have to keep that refresh in your inventory. Not the worst thing for the Lina, it's also not quite the ideal, as you're going to be very squishy when you do get jumped. Entity, again, they're playing a very patient game here. Pure is working onto his own Swift blink up, gets another double damage rune on that sniper. So that could enable the high ground for them. Just kind of need to keep the lanes further shoved out, as Liquid at least has some room up top to kind of farm at least one lane out.
Yeah, generally with Aegis, you don't want to use the very first minute of Aegis is the farming part, because you have 4 minutes, you have 5 minutes total. So you want to use the first minute maybe to group up, push all the lanes in, get the map in a nice pretty position where everything's pushing in, and then when there's 2 minutes left, that's where it feels awkward. Killing the Aegis doesn't feel that good because they only had a minute or two left, but if you don't kill them, now you're just taking your whole base.
That they are. They're going right after that tier 3. Laguna is already out. Hook is there as well. They've got the Undying, but Toby, he's going to survive. Force Staff is out. Maybe until they get Kataomi, but the Force Staff's away with the Seal Totem. He's still running. Pure with the double damage. Just rips by a new one. Look at this, Mika. He's trying to run. The Hook's going to save the day, but the assassinate. Oh, it's in the fountain. Look at Pure go. He's not done yet. He wants more. What are we aiming, Pure? In fact, they're going to go in. Hook is there. Boxy, has he set up? Pure, no, the Force Staffs. He's going to be able to get out once again. They just can't catch him. Triple kill now for Pure as he's onto the tier 4 towers. It's not looking good for Entity, or rather Liquid. They're going to 3-man smoke up. Try one more time to save this game too. But Entity, they'll just keep going for the tier 4 towers. Only one left. How do you try and defend this? There's a side device out on Mickey. Pure right to it. They just can't catch up. They can't even get close to him.
BKB Black Hole in 5 seconds. That's kind of the last hope for Liquid right now.
And we go, Matumba, he's going to try and bait for this one. Mickey, he'll join in as well. Toby still taking through it. He's going to go down. That's one down by Matumba in trouble. Zai, he's also been spotted. Pure's just not letting him get anywhere near the sniper. Don't forget, you've still got that secondary life. They still hold on to that final tier 4 as they do jump in again. Matumba, he wants the first life with the Force Staff, so they're the Hawk is going to land. He's got the first one. Zai, he's still in range. He's got the black hole. It's going to connect on 2 of them. Pure is distracted right now. Have they done it? Can Liquid keep defending? Kataomi is going to drop it. They've got the Mickey leader. It's all over. There's only one left. It's only Zai. And without the black hole, there's no way they defend this entity. Or do they? Boxy, he's back up, but it's basically 2 supports against the sniper. Pure, he's got the hand up. High fives all around. They'll kick away the Leshrac. Stormstorper, he might drop, but it's not gonna matter. GG's called. We are going to a game number 3.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a valiant effort coming out there for Liquid towards the end, but it just doesn't line up. Pure is just way too big. They had no catch for the back line. Gunnar, where do you think it kind of went down? Because it felt like they had such an amazing start for Boxy, but it just didn't pan out.
I think the bot tower defense, this tier 1 bot actually mattered a lot for how their momentum was going in the early game. They did great in their lanes. Boxy was in 7 kills early. Again, crushing the early game, but they make a choice. They defend this bot tower, and it doesn't really work out. They lose 4 heroes, I think, and that's where Entity, that's where they started. Pure didn't even show up. He gets all his farm, he gets all these items, and just the game snowballs from there.
What do you think Liquid can do different in game 3? Like, if you're going to change anything, at least in this draft, what do you think they need to change up, at least to win out this game 3?
I don't know if they have to change up much in general. I think the game plan they're doing is solid, as well as Entity. I think they're both having really solid game plans, and I think it more comes down to the execution. I think the drafts are fine. The way that they're like mentally, it looks like they're mentally playing really well games. It's just execution, making those small little choices. Those are what really matters in the game.
Well, with that, we'll be back with our game 3 draft very soon. But let's see what our panel had to think about this game number 2.
Thank you very much indeed. What a game for the second time this international. We are going the distance to the 3rd game. Can't wait to see it, but we got to wait a little bit. Got to give the teams a little bit of a breather and talk about how this happened, because if you only watched the first 5-10 minutes of that game, you would not have believed that sniper turned into the beast it turned out in the end, Jenkins.
Yeah, it's funny because like they were kind of feeding that lane with the Clockwork and the Sniper after that insane dive on the Tier 1 tower at level 1. You just see Sniper getting pelted by Tier 1 tower shots, but the other two cores kind of carried the early game with the lead that they had. They actually had a 1k gold lead despite the kills looking very bad for them, and then it gave Pure the ability to just farm up and be the absolute monster that he was in this game.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things I want to mention, but I'm just really glad that Entity went for the Sniper, because we did mention it before the draft started that going back to comfort is so important and that we wanted to see the Sniper come out, and it did in such a convincing fashion. Initially, we were watching in the green room, and I was just confused because I had this level 1 Sniper and his Clockwork diving towers.
It was awesome,
versus an Enigma and a Tusker. What was your plan there? What's going on there? I mean, it was a really sick ice shards from Boxy that kind of put them in a bad situation in the first place, but they did it twice. Not once, but twice. And not just that. Mika completely destroyed mid on the Lina, and somehow Entity found their way back into the game. They put Pure in the jungle, he farmed up, they rallied around that Undying, who, even though was played as a core, kind of played that more of a supportive role, right? He went for the Wraith Pact, he rushed a Lotus Orb so that he could protect his cores, and eventually the Sniper had way too many items. He was always in a good position, and it got to the point where Sniper was grenading himself high ground and hitting 4 heroes. I mean, at that point, what do you do?
It's supposed to be a disengage, not an engage. that was good stuff.
I mean, speaking of comfort heroes, Fishman, you mentioned his name. 2 heroes come to your mind probably: Fishman Bane, Fishman Clock, and also Kataomi on his Tiny. This is his signature hero. I don't think you can give Tiny to South American teams, and you cannot give Tiny to Kataomi because he always finds stuff. And I like the build that he's going for, going for that phase boots and the wind lace, and actually making plays before getting a blink dagger.
But I'm just really impressed that Entity were able to do this when they were on the brink of elimination, because I really thought that after that game 1, Liquid had the momentum and they would just run them over in this game too. And the first 6 minutes of the game, it looked like it was going to be so one-sided, winning 2 lanes, but Entity somehow found 2 really good kills on the Pudge early on. They negated the net worth lead, and then the Sniper is a hero who is actually so effective against Enigma, right? Because he just stands far back and just punches him, and then he dies. And even if you have BKB, you can't do anything. You're dying to a dwarf right-clicking you, critting you for 1,000 damage.
Yeah. Having vision from Tombstone and also from Shrapnel does make things a lot difficult for Enigma to engage. Once he picks up the Blink Dagger, it's still very, very hard. As you said, Sniper staying away from everything. I feel like maybe Matu needed to join these earlier fights. One of those, he was farming his Aghanim Scepter against the Bloodstone Lash. You need to have some kind of regeneration reduction, but I felt maybe things would be slightly different if he was there to potentially hook the Sniper, get him inside when he was not at his peak.
Or just blink on him.
Yeah, once that hero gets 5-6 item, gets very difficult.
I mean, we talked about comfort and about how we like seeing Entity on their comfort. You can look at the draft of Team Liquid and say, wait a second, but Liquid was also playing on comfort heroes. Jenkins, why didn't it work better for them?
Well, number one, I think Entity. It's not just Pure that plays really well on the Sniper. I think they play around the Sniper very well. There were so many 4-staffs and just disengages coming from his team that were making it so that he looked like the god that he was in that game. And as Effie mentioned, Toby, even though his game was incredible, he still built the support items, trusting that even though the top lane was going quite horribly, that Pure on the Sniper eventually would get to the point where he was going to carry the game and be worth protecting like that. And it was a good call. It worked out.
And also, the Tombstone placements were really on point. We saw time and time Insania trying to go for it, kill it with Low Shredder. He immediately uses Soul Reap, heals it. And there was not that second hero that's going to go in and try to kill a Tombstone with Insania.
Normally, it's supposed to be Lina, right?
Yeah, but this is Spellcaster Lina, and BKB came in a bit later, and she didn't feel... And Sniper already hit his critical mass, and if she gets close, she's just going to get peeped.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, she didn't get peeped. Everybody got peeped, actually, in that game. And, Insania, no, he also got peeped that game. This was a rough game because from a draft perspective, if you look at it on paper, it was fairly even, and then I kind of feel like Liquid got outplayed in this match. So when we're talking about comeback, we knew that for Entity coming into game number 2, it was going to be fairly doable for them to reset and just go for a different plan. How is Liquid going to fare with that, Effie, you think?
I mean, I would hope that a team as seasoned and experienced as Liquid would be able to reset in the same way. And like we mentioned earlier, if you're losing this game 2 and you're going to the game 3, don't spend too long talking about the game 2. It's over. It happened. If you win, talk about it later. But for the most part, what's your game plan going in next, right? Are you going to have the sniper in mind? Are you still going for your Enigma? Are you potentially going for something more active on Mike? Are you going to go back to the SF? This is something they're going to be discussing right now in this downtime.
Or builds, like Lacoste was mentioning. I think in retrospect, you know, you look at the Pudge and it's like, okay, we have Alina, we have an Enigma. These are 2 late game heroes. Pudge doesn't necessarily need to farm. Let's go for an early Blink Dagger, kind of play like a mid Pudge. But like defining 1 or 2 things that they could have done differently. Okay, reset, we'll do that this game. We're going to beat them next time.
Yeah, and we know, of course, Team Liquid does have a lot of experience facing Entity. And I do want to point out, it's not, the last couple of times did not look good. Lacoste,
yeah, in the TI qualifier, they did lose 2-0 to Entity. Yeah. They did beat them in Tour 3, and they did beat them in Tour 2 as well. Yeah. So, I mean, Liquid does have tendency to play like slightly below what you expect at them when they're at LAN. Like, you always have high hopes, but yeah, I think they need to reset and they need to come up with something really good. Metrum, coach from Team Entity, did you know, say game 1. Doesn't matter. Yeah. You know, we have a good draft for game number 2, and yeah, the confidence speaks. They knew exactly what the mistakes were. They didn't make those same mistakes, and Liquid also needs to make an adjustment.
Yeah, I'm gonna imagine though. I mean, Metrum is a great coach.
Yes.
Liquid's got 3 great coaches. Someone's got to be able to give the speech that is needed.
I'm sure in terms of support system, they are not lacking at all. It feels like Liquid got handed the ball and then they fumbled, right? Because that was almost a perfect early game for them. They got the heroes that they wanted. They killed the sniper, 3 times in the early game? The Lina was out farming the Leshrac. You had this Matu Pudge that you're super comfortable on, and it felt like maybe they got a little bit too comfortable because at some point they were diving and overextending for kills that didn't matter too much, right? You often saw this Snap and this Husk playing together, looking for these early game pickoffs, but they would chase all the way to the tower, and then Entity would TP in 2 or 3 heroes, get the return kill, and they did it maybe 2 or 3 times before they stopped. So I feel that that's a bit uncharacteristic of them. Maybe just, I don't know, talk about it a little bit more amongst yourselves, because you can never get too comfortable on the TI main stage.
I agree. Like, you're totally right that it felt like there wasn't a sense of urgency involving the sniper, which in a draft like that, when you have Enigma and you don't have these great heroes of getting on top of the sniper, it's like, at some point, we need to kill this guy or we're going to eventually lose. But I think you're totally right that they felt comfortable because it's like,
oh, we killed him 4 times.
You killed him 4 times. He's useless. So whatever. Like, Matumba can just keep farming. He can go for this kind of greedier build rather than going for like an early game, run at you build, because he's like, all I got to do is carry this game, not feed. The sniper's useless. And it's like, oh shit, he's top net worth. That's not good.
Yeah, so what do we want to see from game number 3? Because the teams have had almost about 10 minutes to talk about this. We've obviously focused mostly on what went wrong in the previous game, but what often happens, and what we also saw in True Sight, is that teams spent this time mostly on deciding what to do next, how they're going to adapt, how they're going to change things. And I would love to hear that too, because we've seen 2 very different games coming out from these 2 teams so far on this main stage, and we know that Entity can adapt. We just saw proof of that. Can Liquid adapt? I would imagine so. As you heard Effie say, these are very experienced players. They're going to be able to adapt, but how, Lacoste? What would you like to see changed?
I wouldn't say anything was wrong with their draft in game 2. That's a solid, strong draft. It's just they did made a lot of these like small mistakes that you know, can get into your head potentially, especially playing on TI stage. You know what you're playing for, and you know, maybe shrug it off, let it go.
Let it go. That sounds very
like
simple.
Maiden.
Sounds like Crystal Maiden perhaps coming out. I don't know. Here they come again. They are going back on the stage to play for one of these teams, their final game, guaranteed at the International 11. And for Entity, on one side, this team is filled filled with first-timers. Every single one of their players, including their coach as well, they've never been on this stage, and they are looking hungry, and they're looking comfortable. I think that is the trial by fire we talked about earlier. The 128-minute win over RNG just a couple of days ago definitely played a part in that. And any result that they get from here on out, people would be saying, you know what, Entity started the year in Division 2? That's great. Good result, regardless of where they end. On the other side, if you got Team Liquid, they've got a lot more pressure on them.
They have so much pressure on them right now, and they have to be feeling it. I mean, Team Liquid, when you look at this lineup, you think this is a TI winning lineup. And to lose to a team that was recently formed, that have only had the addition of their carry player for the last few months, that is something that they themselves are thinking cannot happen. They have so much pressure from their org, from their fans, from themselves, right? They have to do it.
If you ask me, like, which player deserved to win TI, but he never did, I would instantly say Zai. Because that guy is so good at Dota, but never managed to get that ages for himself.
Yeah, he got, of course, together with Matu, third place last year.
Yes.
And I think for both of them, they were hoping banking on this year was going to be even better and enough to reach that final stage, to reach that grand finals and to take the trophy. But they've got a long road ahead of them. And if they don't do it in this lower bracket, this is losing also. If they were to lose against Western Europe, that is painful because you practice against these guys the entire year, Jenkins.
The good news with all of this,
yes, please,
is that what the story of this entire event has been is people going to hell and back, and then becoming a lot stronger.
Back to hell and hell again.
Exactly, which we've not seen that hero too much, very fortunately for us. But either team, whichever team wins this, not only have they gotten a lot stronger from the trials and tribulations they've gone through, this will make them stronger. And
yes.
I feel like, you know, potentially facing up against these upper bracket teams, these lower bracket teams, they always look spicy, man. They always look strong.
Honestly, Entity have already far and away exceeded my expectations. To not lose in that game 2 and to come back after that kind of laning phase versus a team like Liquid who completely crushed you in game 1, I never saw that coming. So hats off to them, honestly. This team is going to have so many new fans.
Yeah, we know that at the start of the day, there were out of hundreds of thousands of people that made their bracket predictions. 4 people were still correct at the start of the day. I wonder how many will be correct after this lower bracket portion of the day is done, because it has definitely been a very close series, both of the ones that we've had so far between all the Western European teams. We have one more thing that we'll have to do before we go into the game, though, because we need to see the draft for these two teams, and the draft will be coming your way right now.
Entity versus Team Liquid. Game 3.
There's always a part of me that remembers some of the words from players. When we talk about things, we are analyzing. It's like, oh, they did this because back in 2015, you know, we overanalyze things. That's our job. That's okay. But I know that for a lot of these players and the players right now on stage, everything, or a lot of it, is just intuition. They're like, we're just drafting what feels good, and we'll find the reason behind that. But
we're live. We have to. But we will find
theory craft. I'd like to say.
You know what? I want to see out of Liquid. I want to see one of their cores decisively asking for their signature hero.
Ooh.
You know,
give me a lone druid.
Yeah, Entity was facing elimination
with the arrow, with the pointing from Blitz. It was perfectly timed there for Jenkins. Sorry, if we continue.
But the way that Entity were facing elimination, and then Pure just goes, give me sniper, I will defeat them. I want someone in Liquid to say, you know what, give me that lone droid, give me the Shadow Fiend back. We can play it even though people have figured it out.
Maybe also ban the sniper as well. That's also a good call out to make. They had 3 bans in the second phase. Entity, we've talked about how their hero pools have been limited.
Still, Katomi, still 5 heroes.
Yeah,
that's right.
But he's looked so good on that Tiny as well that I am surprised to see it through every single time.
He practiced it, but he practiced it at TI.
All you need is 5 heroes. That's what he's showing us.
What about Sniper? I would not be surprised if Team Liquid takes it.
Not right now?
It looked really good in Matu's hand.
But
I feel like this is actually a first phase hero, and I'm fairly certain that both of my panelists agree with that. From what we've been talking about, this hero is OP.
Sniper is A tier, potentially an S tier hero right now, and so underutilized. And how we saw this Sven and SF become really popular, the Sven plus Sniper is even better.
Yeah.
But not enough teams are willing to dip their toes there quite yet. It is TI main stage, which they don't want to lose. But the ones who have done it have looked really convincing.
Yeah, it's scary because he's too goofy. You don't want to pick this goofy guy on your team.
That's what it is.
And they go for the CM. Man, I feel like a silencer. You have 2 channeled ultis. Enigma on the side. Don't you just silencer here?
A Fishman does play it.
You have to play it.
You have to, but also do you have to pick it now? I kind of feel like it's too good to pass up on.
I think it's too good to be true, but we'll see. This is Entity we're talking about here.
What about that hero, Sniper? Who still looks good. We saw he's keeping the distance between Enigma.
Ooh!
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So they decided to go for more of something that, I mean, Toby did in the previous game. He went for these, like, Wraith-packed Lotus Orb, and Broodmother is a hero that builds, again, Wraith-packed, potentially pipe, because there is a lot of magical damage coming out from these 2 heroes.
And there was a really interesting statistic that I believe Knoxville posted about Broodmother and her Wraith pack timing. And if Brood got it 15 minutes or below, her win rate was something like 80% or something absurd like that. And then if she got it after that, her win rate was 7 to 9 when he posted the statistic. So it really matters that you secure this timing, but when you do, it just offers you too much in this.
Now, that being said, during the group stage, Entity was able to pick Broodmother 4 times total. They have a 50-50 on it during those groups.
And as far as Brood goes in this game, I do feel that between the Crystal Maiden and the Enigma, they do have a means to kind of deal with it. Enigma isn't the best at playing versus Brood in terms of outpush, but you do have a way to just get on top of this hero and catch it later. She doesn't really do much to stop the black hole. All she gives you is the map control and the team fight, right? But Crystal Maiden, everyone's favorite blonde girl, here she is, right? Her Nova is super good on lane. She can catch her with her frostbite early on, and she gives her team utility. You usually pick like spammy heroes like Pangolier or something like that need mana in order to kill her spiderlings, and Crystal Maiden just enables that so well.
Yeah, it's true, and I feel like this current version of Brood as well is not like the old Brood where you're playing around the spiders a lot and like keeping your distance and spamming the spiderlings. It's more like you do actually get in there with Wraith Pack to defend it in a pipe, and you're kind of like a tank. So I feel like Enigma can catch you with Hole, and you can get Frostbitten, and you can get CM ulted. However, both of these heroes will feed to a Broodmother, and I do think, like FA was saying, you need something more. You need something. And they banned the Sniper, by the way.
That's a good call.
It's a good call.
Yeah, because in the previous game, they did have a lot of bodies to throw in front of the Sniper. Pretty much everyone was in their faces, while Sniper can just casually sit in the back and kill people. And even with these 2 heroes, you do have like Broodmother that tanks up. And the thing about the Wraith Pact, it's an item that reduces enemy damage, and it also gives damage to your own team, especially carries who do have like lifesteal. So just you get something and the enemy team loses something, so it's quite a lot of a difference, especially
it's good value.
Yeah, I mean, in this game it's Enigma against Broodmother, so both teams are gonna have Wraith Pact.
Ursa ban coming out as well. Is there anything in particular we can read from Entity's bans with the Naga, Pango, and Ursa here in the second phase?
I mean, Pango against the Broodmother, you just one-shot those spiderlings, makes Brood game very difficult, especially when paired up with Crystal Maiden. You do have a lot of mana. Pango does consume a lot of it, and they don't have heroes that can't stop the Rolling Thunder, at least for now, so it looked like a good Pango game.
Yeah, and they just don't have the best heroes to deal with the Naga right now. She also just gives them a way to reset or set things up for Enigma, right? Slung into Black Hole. And Ursa is a matchy specialty hero, but also a way to punish the Broodmother early on, right? Crystal Maiden plus Ursa together on lane can kill the Brood over and over. So they're just making sure to give this Brood a comfy start here.
Considering that they banned Ursa, it could also mean that this Tiny is going to be a core, something that Stormstormer does play quite a lot. I mean, it's Kataomi also just spams this hero.
There's the Spirit Breaker again.
Are they going back for the Lifestealer after the Spirit Breaker? It looked really good in that game one.
Is it good against Tiny/Brood?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like Effie was saying, this new brood, or I guess it's not that new, but with the Spiderlings coming at the ulti level rather than being just a basic ability, she does play like a pretty typical melee hero during the laning stage. So these Ursa's lifestealers that would normally destroy just like a normal melee offlaner, they do actually deal with brood quite well, especially when paired with the CM who has the stuns and slows.
The thing is, if you do pick this lifestealer to combo with the Spirit Breaker and punish brood on lane, you have to pick some kind of wave clear mid laner that can deal with the Spiderlings.
Yeah, there's nothing right now.
Yeah, so that would be the only downside to this lifestealer right now. But also, the thing about Broodmother is Unsatiable Hunger forces carries into early BKBs, and lifestealer has one for free.
That's a pure signature right there with the punch, and they also pick up the Jakiro that we've seen be very impactful earlier
Very
today.
snowballed lineup coming up from Entity with this Pudge and Jakiro gives them a lot of tower damage on top of Broodmother, and in the end they will go with the lifestealer because against Pudge it's great.
It's good. It's really
against
good,
Tiny, which still can be core, so looks really nice. It's not that great in the laning stage against the Broodmother because he doesn't provide you much, and also once Broodmother hits level 6, things do get, like he might be pushed out of the lane, but it's good for the game.
It is very telegraphed, though. This is something that Entity has also seen coming from quite a ways away.
But, you know, I was thinking that it would be really cool if Entity picked up the Pudge for themselves after Liquid just lost with it, because it is one of the pure specialty carries that he has played a lot and feels comfortable on, but it's kind of just a mental blow to adding insult to injury, so to speak. So, and it is a good Pudge game, right? Because you can hook out of Black Hole. Once you get a BKB, you can punish this Crystal Maiden. It's hard for the Spirit Breaker to fight you once you're 6 slotted or even 3 slotted.
I don't actually think Lifestealer versus Pudge is as bad as people think it is either. Now, as a carry Pudge, you may be less likely to do this, but like for example, the way you can counter it is you get a Ghost Scepter and you bite Nakes, and then you Ghost Scepter, and that's 7 seconds, which is rage. That's the entire rage duration. Then you turn around and he hits you, but you have the lifesteal reduction with your Ags Rod. So I think once you have like Ags +1 timing, Pudge is actually pretty good against Nakes. It's just the problem is until the +1 item after Ags, that's when Nakes is very strong against the Pudge.
Oh, what about some Lesh for Team Liquid? It's banned?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
It would have been really nice, though, for sure.
Unban. You should have one unban of your own bans.
All right.
So,
and an unpick. Well, yeah.
By the way, I want to change this hero, please.
We're gonna
I'm
take
using
the
my
Pudge.
repick card.
Yeah.
So what kind of Nikkei hero can they go for here that has the wave clear to deal with
I wouldn't mind seeing Invoker. Does give them a little bit more global presence with the Spirit Breaker, with the Sunstrike, and also a lot of AoE control. I think right now they are lacking a little bit of damage because Enigma is slow, so is Lifestealer.
They do need some fast mid hero to play with, right? They need to be able to exploit the Spirit Breaker.
It's good Storm game because they don't have much lockdown.
It's basically just Tiny. I was looking at Mickey's hero pool, and Invoker and Storm are the only ones that don't get really hard countered by the Tiny mid. Like they could, Queen of Pain, they could Puck, but like these are heroes that don't do that well against Tiny because of the ability to just walk up an avalanche toss and are dead from full HP. They banned the Quap anyway.
This isn't a mid Tiny though, so I don't think it's that much of a concern.
It could still be a mid Tiny.
That's true. It is flexible, but it is Entity, right? It's one of Katarina's 5 heroes.
It's going to be Team Liquid that has the overall last pick, so we'll see if Entity tries to keep it somewhat flexible, maybe in their heads before Team Liquid gets our choice, but I'm going to assume that we're going to see a mid-hero come out here as well, and it seems like Team Liquid was expecting the same with the Invoker ban and the Visage ban, 2 of Storm's heroes.
Are they looking at Batrider potentially? I know the hero hasn't had a great win rate, but it would be nice to be able to lasso the Enigma and even the
Lifestealer, yeah.
Maybe with the Quap ban, but the only issue is you get the counter pick if you're Liquid. So he's going to lose the lane, and then against Nakes, it's not that great either. And Spirit Breaker with the status resistance.
It's going to be the Puck. Nice.
I do feel as though that's the best option. They could have gone for it in a situation where Liquid have last pick on them, because Puck can disjoint the Spirit Breaker charge. He can control the Enigma before it gets the BKB, and when Lifestealer gets strong enough to go on him, he has so many ways to disengage from him. So I like it. It makes a lot of sense. I think Entity's draft overall is looking really solid, especially for a team that didn't have last pick. I think they're in a better situation than Liquid right now.
So the old school counter to Puck, was it TA? What else is good
and
against?
Tiny.
And
So,
Tiny?
Yeah, but they have it. So,
But they have Tiny already?
So old school counters is, yep, TA, Dragon Knight.
But I'm not sure if they want to bank that one out.
Yeah, slow.
Ember isn't bad.
Ember sounds pretty good, actually. Yeah, Ember sounds solid. Just sit there and like chip away at the puck in lane.
They don't. Kunkka's fine, I think.
Kunkka's good too. Yeah.
Being able to catch people doesn't give them like. They do have tower damage coming out from like Lifestealer later on with the Deso and Enigma, and they do have a lot of buffs if it's gonna be Kunkka. Okay. Ember in the end.
Yeah, so Ember is, it's good. It can run into situations, especially when it gets stream coiled and just run at. But it gives you a strong lane versus Puck. It gives you chains to catch, which isn't bad, but also wave clear for the spiders, especially if you go Maelstrom or something like that and you sleight of fist.
You slight for so long.
Yeah, it's an easy way to deal with it. It does seem punishable, but I think that's the best that they could have gone for in this situation. I don't really. Something about the Liquid draft just doesn't feel right to me, and I feel like Entity are in such a good position, but I think anything could happen in this game 3.
Yeah, is it really going to be dependent on the draft? That's the main question, I guess, Jenkins.
I forget the draft.
So then it's not going to be dependent on the draft.
Yeah, there was a Pudge.
Lacoste?
Yeah, Pudge.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
I had the same problem as Jenkins.
All right, guys, it is time. I loved hearing everything you guys said, but I would also prefer to hear the words of the coach. It's Blitz and Slacks.
Thank you so much, Sheever. I am here with Blitz, of course, coach of Team Liquid. And ladies and gentlemen, Blitz, a lot of scary picks coming out of there. You know, you see the Brood Mother coming your way, slithering across. You got that Puck, a terrifying pick there. Do you have enough bug stompers to get through this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think we should be able to address it. We kind of knew it was coming because we banned the Lesh, and we know that that's their flavor. And so, yeah, it was kind of just a calculated risk.
Absolutely. Now, I saw you went down to 2 seconds left on reserve time. What were you guys talking about? Anything, scary on that last pick, or was it more motivation for the game?
No, Matu really he thinks it's funny to troll Insania by leaving it like as low as it can possibly get. I'm being serious. Like, we do it all the time in this tournament. It's not, we knew we were going to pick Ember for like 45 seconds. They just think it's funny.
All right, well, any words to say maybe to Entity before you get in, or to anybody watching before we end up in this last game?
Yeah, you know, in competition, there's always a loser, and if we're meant to be out here, couldn't have happened to better guys. You know, when we made it through last chance qualifier, Stormstormer came up and hugged us all. He was really excited for us, and so hopefully we can be just as gracious back to him. They're really good people. You know, even if they lose in Dota, they're great people in life, and I hope it's okay.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, Blitz. We'll get into this game. All right, now, let's throw it to our casters.
Thank you very much, Lex. We do get into it. Game number 3. We've got some great people. We've got some great Dota here, boys. What are we thinking? You've seen both the drafts. Do you think one team came out on top of the other?
I think the Puck pick was really nice, but Ember, every time I see Puck Ember, it's a little scary. This Pucks get nerfed. The lane is a little weaker, so it can be scary from that matchup.
Yeah, I have a lot of dancing here for Mike. I feel like the Ember should be able to kind of jump in and out as long as the Puck doesn't fully commit towards him. So you've got a lot of play, and I think that back and forth is going to be key here for the side of Liquid and how well that mid comes back. It's interesting as well, Gunnar, right? Like we talked about it a little bit, but they do go back into the Enigma, and we see Entity go back into the Tiny. So Zai and Kataomi have played the same heroes this entire series, and you know, they've managed to trade blows, so we'll see who does get the better win percentage out of this one.
Yeah, and it's also the one thing that you have to make sure when you play the same hero is like mentally resetting. Because you play very stressful games, you're like, and the game ends, you're mentally thinking like, I'm level 16, I have these items, and then you go back level 1. You have nothing, you're slow, no spells. Just starting from the bottom.
So yeah, it does turn out. Both these teams hanging around the mid lanes for now. Standard stuff. A level 1 team fight could break out. You kind of mentioned it last game, but you've got the Pudge available, and that's always a painful kind of hero to have to go up against level 1.
Yeah, we saw last game, Matu got the first blood, or he helped secure the first blood, and Entity is another team that has been playing carry Pudge for a really long time, so it's kind of their flavor. And last game it didn't work out. I think this game it has some better matchups than it did last game. Not as much damage, but again, Lifestealer is known to be tanky or good versus tanky strength heroes.
Entity. They are going to move in, bully them out from the bottom side. It is going to be a 3-for-1 trade the way of Entity, so they'll be very happy with that Banner Rune start. It's a nice little bonus for them to get started. Of course, we'll look back into the mid lane straight off the bat, see how this one goes. So we are going to have the Ember. Of course, Mike going to be up against the Puck of Entity. How does this matchup work out?
It's okay for the Puck if he can do really well in the first 3 levels specifically, but at some point, whenever it hits level 3-4, that's when it gets very hard. Puck has no armor, the Sleight of Fist spam just pushes him out of the lane very easily, and he can't really pop Flame Guard without overcommitting onto you.
Yeah, it does feel like the early timings of an Ember just feel a lot better as well. I think just going for an early Orb of Corrosion, even just the Blightstone into face boots can feel really nice, and the Puck just doesn't sustain through that all too well.
Yeah, Puck, the mana nerfs and the small cap removal hurt a lot, that you can't just spam the orb every time you have it. You have to think about when you use it. And now that you also have to use all your mana, you don't really want to get waiting grip, so you can't break the shield, and then if you can't break the shield, you can't man up, so now you need phase shift, and it's just a lot of things that have hurt the matchup over time.
Bot lane, Insania dropping rather low, but does find the courier of Toby. Of course, you're going to have the Tumberman against Toby on that Broodmother, and Kataomi will be there to support that Brood. What are we thinking about this lane? Like, for now, Matumba's been doing a decent job of bullying Toby out. Is there a stage where Toby starts to kind of throw back the other way?
Probably not until level 6, and even then, it's not the greatest. I think right now, Matsu's going to completely free farm, and Toby is going to get maybe similar, but not the same. It's a lot of just slightly in the favor of Liquid. They're going to be completely fine, and Entity's the one who are going to try to make moves to make, get the creeps themselves.
Fishman being chased down, Boxy hoping for a bash, not going to get it. There's no lucky bashes coming out from Boxy here. Can you do? Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. On mid lane, Mickey going to go for a bit of a chase after Storm, but they're just fighting. This timing here, there's 2-minute water rune timing, and it's like they should be able to find 1 each anyway, not too big of a deal.
Yeah, it's still feeling really good for Mika on that mid though. You can see that CS disparity already. 13-1, 10-1 for Stormstormer. Not too far behind, but once some initial items come in, at least the Blightstone, I think you're going to have a good time with a slight fist spam. Stormstormer, he does have good support to come in mid if they see that opportunity, but if they do want to go for that, they have to go before Mika hits 6. Once the Ember has the remnants, and then getting a gank onto him, it's going to require the Dream Coil, and you're going to have to coordinate onto that one really fast.
Yeah, again, as you said, one of the big things with Puck that makes you feel good about your Puck game or bad is whether you can kill them when you coil them. And again, that's why one reason that Ember's very good versus Puck is because Flame Guard kind of prevents all of this magic damage early, and it makes it so he survives the coil, and then you have nothing versus him. So the fact that they have Tiny who can break the coil with toss, they have a Jakiro with a lot of nukes, that if they can group these hero up and kill the Ember during the coil, then the matchup will be fine.
Still 0-0, not first blood being drawn yet. It's in. A lot of damage being dealt here by Matumba and Insania as they go on to Kataomi, but it's not going to be quite enough. Matumba just happy to keep dominating the lane. Not too interested in securing first blood as top lane. Maybe that's where we see it. Zai is chased down, but the bash is there from Boxy. Another one. All right. Can we get a third? Charge us out. Let's keep going. Boxy getting very, very lucky there.
I think if there's any lane with pressure, it's going to be in this one. Either side. Probably Entity, maybe once Pudge gets point and hook, maybe at 3 or 4 whenever he decides to choose that. Because the other 2 lanes are probably just going to be slow wins over time. It's not going to be really kills. It's going to be, you chip them down, you get the extra last hits. That's what's happening mid, that's what's happening bot. But top is where both lanes have the ability to kill.
Yeah, they've got a lot of damage, a lot of slows on hand coming out from Entity. Good amount of stuns from Liquid if they get lucky. We saw Boxy kind of hunting for that stun for a very long time. Very disruptive right now on that Spirit Breaker.
I won't find it this time, Boxy trying to be very, very cheeky on this Spirit Breaker, but not so lucky. Pure join in there with Fishman trying to get this pull off. Denied at least from Zai. Malphus will be there. They've got the Eidolon. It's going to be a fair bit of damage. Boxy going to move in. There's a charge up. Pure. Is he going to get bashed here? Not quite. It looks like instead onto Fishman. There's your bash out. Boxy still getting very lucky. Fishman trying to run. Fishman surely has no way out though. He's just trapped between a rock and a hard place as Boxy. He'll keep going with Zai. One more would do it. There's your Malphus. Fishman, he will hand over first blood. Zai able to pick it up as now Pure. Oh, Pure, he's been caught out by Boxy. Can we get lucky? Maybe one more. He doesn't get it yet. Pure, he's going to try to run Boxy, not getting lucky. 17% is what he needs right now as Pure still running, not getting lucky, but the Malefice will do the job.
Oh my God.
2 kills out for Zai as in comes Fishman once again. Boxy, this time he'll back up.
No crowd favorite bashes to secure the kills. Getting them nonetheless.
They've just got to shout bash louder. That's all they need.
Yeah, just need louder yells. And Boxy, he's being impactful again. We saw this in game 2 where he gets really aggressive. It's not the same sort of aggression as we were seeing out from his Tusk. Much more focused up top. But they have made this lane pretty hard for Pure to just sit back and farm. He's going to take a little bit more time to get going as they go on to mid a bit. Boxy does play it safe.
No man on the puck. He has to go base. This is where it starts to feel bad. Mickey's level 6. He's going to start pressuring the tower, and having to walk back to base is mid this late means you're probably going to miss the 6-minute rune. You're not going to have TPs to, you know, counter gank in the side lanes if there's any rotation. So he's going to kind of lock his game up for the next couple minutes or so.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough for Stormer to kind of contribute to the sides if he does decide to head mid, and he will. Already have the supports here to kind of help out.
It almost breaks out there. Fishman not able to land the nicest ice path. Stormer unable to find the regen room, and as Mickey was able to take it on the Ember. Stay ward out as well from Liquid as they are very grouped up in the mid lane. Just kind of wonder what they can do against the puck. They'll force out a phase shift, but it seems like they're going to have to lead Stormer B. So maybe Boxy can rotate down bot. No, in fact, he's going back up top. See what he can get done here is Matumba. He's the one in danger right now. Toby will go for a chase, but a nice rage up. Matumba going to juke out the avalanches. Now Insania does come in, but top lane, Charge was there, Pure. He goes for the hook instead. Boxy needs to run and will be able to do so as Zai will have his back.
Yeah, this bot lane, again, it's very kind of calm lane. They're both hitting each other a little, getting low, chip, but we haven't really talked about the Brood that much. And the Brood fills a similar fashion to what they were trying to do with the Naga in the first game, where he's going to buy a lot of aura items. He's probably going to go for a Wraith Pack into a Pipe. They don't really play this, you know, the old school Orchid, Diffusal, BKB. They play as this really tanky hero who just absorbs the map and just pushes you away. So it's going to be more of a, he's playing to just make the map very dark for Liquid. There's no more vision, no more creeps, and it's going to give space for Entity to kind of use this Pudge to farm his Ags, the Puck to kind of catch the picks on the side lanes, and mostly just a kind of a tool rather than like their
charge out
to win the game.
Pure. He targeted, Zai is around, they've got the Midnight Pulse going with the Malefice, there's one bash out, Pure needs to run, but the Black Hole, it's going to be cancelled. There was an avalanche there from Kataomi, still Mickey, he's still going to go for the chase, Dream Call out now as well, Stormer, the toss out, they break the coil, can they hold down the Ember? Boxy's back in, he's manning up, Pure's gone, Mickey, can he truly survive this? Fishman's the one dropping low, Mickey's still alive somehow, Kataomi now, he's the one in danger, a double kill up for Zai, and a third kill for the side of Liquid as they're going for more. Liquid are not done yet. They want Stormer, and Boxy's going to find him. They'll find a fourth.
Oh man, the output right now coming out from Mike. Blades of Attack, not even a full phase boots with the Orb Corrosion. It's enough to dig in, and they get some pretty good bashes. They shared the damage really well as well, coming out there from Liquid, just diving nicely and just ensuring they've got enough in the tank to power through.
Visions of what happened last game. One team goes to the enemy safe lane, they kind of wrap around the tower, they force a play, and you feel strong, you feel like you want to defend, but you just get wiped there. Now, the map is so much in the favor of Liquid that if this Brood can't really kick the lifesteal out of the lane and take the tower soon, where's their map going to be?
Yeah, and it feels like that the timing of that Brood is just contingent on shutting down the map early on in the bot lane, you know, and just preventing the life healer from trying to get that build up, equalize, provide some space for the Pudge. Isn't quite shaping up yet here from Toby. He has been left alone to push in a bit, but it does feel like, as you mentioned, Gunnar, Liquid has found enough to kind of compensate for that possibility.
We do see the support duo of Entity kind of walk towards bot. It looks like they're going to try to force the tower now that Matu's left the lane.
Boxy, bot lane, Avalanche will be there. They'll try and secure at least the Spirit Breaker kill. They'll go for a bit of a run, but it's not going to be enough. Entity able to pick up something. It's number Tumba. Going to be spotted here by Storm in the Invis rune. Will show himself eventually, just trying to steal away the creep as the Hurricane is going to push back Matumba, but he's going to be okay.
What a creep.
Bias
You know,
creep.
it's so scary. Every time you get pushed, I think it only does it when an enemy hero is near you.
Uh-oh,
You can always tell.
Mid lane, he's a big target. Charge is going to be there. They've got the Dismember onto the Ember of Pure. He's in such big danger. They'll toss up, try to get him out. Maybe he does make it. The Ice Path locking down a couple. Insania will drop as well. Here comes Boxy though. Onto Pure. Bashes out as well. He'll get lucky. Can he do it again? Pure. It won't be enough. Zai will get him. But Zai's going to drop as well. 3 for 2. Traders Kataomi. The toss is up. Boxy, he's got some vision on that high ground. But can he get a charge? It's on cooldown for now. He's going to go for it. He barely gets it off. Kataomi is going to get dived underneath the tier 2 tower. They'll find another.
Somehow Zai finds that from the grave as well. Stealing away Boxy's little pick off. Very patient there, dancing around. It does feel like you find what you want there on Entity though. You save Pure out, you manage to punish. Just a great... The Dream Coil and the toss back doesn't quite break this time, but it groups them up for that big move in from Shakira.
Starts to look really scary. Pure lives with less than 100 health. You would think he goes down here, but the Flesh Heap, also with the heal from the Dismember, the Coil makes it so Ember can't slide a fist to do this little extra bit of damage. I thought Matu was also dead there. It looks really scary for Liquid that everything would just go downhill.
Certainly did, like Pure. Barely going down into Boxy's. Boxy just kept the chase going, and eventually with the Eidolons they had just enough. Such a long, drawn-out team fight. Looked like Entity were going to win out that team fight for a moment, but Boxy, he just diving the tier 2 tower as well. Just no fear in the world. You can see the smiles on the side of Liquid. I mean, they're still happy with the way the state of this game is going. And would you agree that Entity, like you talked about it earlier, the Broodmother's not having the impact you'd hoped for so far?
I think the laning stage is honestly okay because of how early picked the Brood was. And you can see that he just walked over. There's a nice line of webs leading from bot to mid. He goes mid, he kills Zai. So now this bottom half of the map is kind of his. He's doing his job right now. He has the cloak, he has arcane boots. He's probably going to go, I would assume, for a Wraith Pact relatively early. Or maybe even just the Pipe Rush. And he's doing everything he needs to. And there's no one to contest him besides Mickey. And Mickey, he's the strongest hero. He doesn't want to go down there and deal with him. He wants to run at heroes like right now.
They're under Boxy, the Spirit Breaker, toss up, they should have it, but here comes Mickey. That's a lot of damage with the Sleight of Fist, but nowhere near enough to keep the fight going. He was all alone. The Entity will pick up a very nice pick off for themselves and continue defending that mid tier 1 tower. Mickey will stick around, but he doesn't really have so much backup at the moment. Pure is going to run into Matumba. Carry-on-carry matchup. They are all alone as well. Nobody had to help out as Mickey, mid lane, going to get tossed back, but the coil's not going to break, but the Ice Path going to lock him down, but now the Black Hole! Zai, he found 2 of them and should have enough damage. Though Pure, he's going to try to man up, but eventually will drop to Matumba.
That combination came out. They managed to punish Mickey really well. They had to use the smoke behind their tier 1 on the right side for it. But then the punishment from Liquid, like that black hole in the freezing field, barely enough to kill off Pure, but that does kind of make it feel a little bit more even.
I mean, even at the same time, the tier 2 bot goes down. The tier 2's really big. Now he gets outpost. Now he gets the entire side of the map. Now he's pressuring your base. You feel it kind of creeping in. And Toby's doing everything he needs to right now for Entity. The map is just going to get smaller and smaller. And while Liquid don't really need a large map, they need something to get their items. Mickey chose to go BKB first item. He's still really far away. And before that,
Stormer. Bit of danger here. Fishman trying to slow them down with an Ice Path. The charge is still going to give the vision, but in comes Kataomi to try and break them off the Stormer. In comes Boxy. Phase Shift's going to save the day for now. Not going to be able to get that charge off. Instead, now they turn back around onto the Spirit Breaker. Boxy, he will drop. Stormer will punish. They keep chipping away at Fishman with this Sleight of Fist, but it won't matter in the end. It seems like Mickey is going to have to give up. But in the meantime, Pure, he'll go for a Dismember. Matumba, he wants to keep going. There's going to be a TP away. Nothing to cancel. The Ice Path, it looks like the Pudge is going to be just fine as now the Ember is in trouble. Fishman setting up perfectly with Stormer. They'll find Mickey.
like we said, if you have to be happy with Puck, you have to kill them in the coil. Every time the Ember gets coiled, he goes down. It's so hard for him to survive. The Brood walks over multiple times. The Pudge will keep showing up. They just keep grouping multiple cores on every coil. It's never just Puck with maybe one support. It's always 2 cores, always 4 heroes together, always getting the kills on Mika.
Yeah, the coordination coming out from Entity's been spot on. They've just been able to play off the back all these combinations well alone.
They're going to try mid lane. Domi setting up the Insania with a great ice path from Fishman. Land on 2. Still seems like Liquid want to try and force this fight, but can they really get it done? They're going to try and break the gap. Mickey, he'll remnant in. Chain's not going to land on anyone. Toby, he'll turn around onto Matumba. Happy to fight this one out. Look at just the slower Matumba, man. He's not even moving right now. Onto Katomi, but the ice path again from Fishman. Going to lock two of them down. So hard to catch up when you constantly get locked out by this ice path. And eventually they will be forced to retreat.
It's also just a level 2 ice path. The game, their amount of slows on Entity, the Kite, they have a lot. Every hero has a slow, stun, or silence. And it's just so hard for Liquid to keep walking into the fights very slowly. They probably need to get this BKB and Ember online. The Slicer needs this Deso so that when he gets the jumps, the hero just dies instantly. They don't have to chase. And even Zai, he just probably needs a blink so he's actually able to get in there in the fight.
It's going to take a little bit of time for them to get that build up. They are going in that exact order as well in the items, of course, but it doesn't feel like Entity's giving them room. We talked about that bot a little bit. Toby's just camping there the entire time. You're not able to farm there with Matu. Mike, again, is eating up the mid, eating up the triangle where he can, trying to go towards that BKB. And it's still a rather even game, 11-10, but it just feels like Entity's management of the map just feels so much more suppressive in comparison to Liquid.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah, I think the gold's not crazy right now for Entity. I think right now the game feels so much more in Entity's favor than the gold is actually showing. It's only a part of the story. It's a lot about how much the map feels really small for Liquid and really big for Entity. They kind of can walk wherever they want, and they'll get a kill, they'll get a tower, they'll get anything. And Liquid is just constantly feeling pressure to walk away.
Mid-tier 1 tower now under siege. Entity, well, there'll be a charge up from Boxy trying to clear out the Spiderlings. They do a decent job of it, but Stormstormer just continues onto the tier 1 and seems like there's going to be no protecting it for Liquid. Entity taking even more of the map now.
Just doesn't take them too long once they commit. Again, with all the control they have on the map, Liquid's counterplay just feels really limited, and they're not really done yet. I mean, they've got the smoke up from Kataomi, does fade now, but you can see they're just feeling so confident. The posture in that bot jungle to cut off the side of Liquid and just make it hellish for those catch-up items to come in. Like, we are still 1.2k away from Mika having a BKB. That's such a long time considering he's the one that feels like he needs to be starting to play around here.
Also, very first item, no Maelstrom, his damage is going to be low. Spearbreaker doesn't really provide much damage, only stuns CM's a very low level, so even once he gets the BKB, it's who does he really play with? Is it always Matu and then now you're asking your mid and carry to always be in every fight together? Then who's going to scale?
Top lane, Zai. He spotted Stormstormer in the smoke, looking to see if he can pick up this Enigma. Kataomi is going to be there. Avalanche and Toss to set up into the ice path, but they actually end up missing. It shouldn't matter though. Eventually they should find Zai, though a TP away. Surely he doesn't make it. They're forced to Dreamcore to make sure they get the kill. There is going to be a pause out from Toby. So they're having a few sound issues, but Zai almost making it out there had they not committed the coil.
That was a really nice TP.
Yeah.
Even standing in the macro pyre, it shows how strong Wraithpact is right now. All the damage reduction it provides. Versus all these nukers, it kind of just shuts them down early game.
Yeah, and you know, just getting that coil out provides you that window to maybe look for a play out. Maybe Mika starts to feel a little bit better without the BKB, punt down some of the softer support. So Liquid could kind of play off the back foot. It's not that much time, to be fair. A very limited window to kind of get that done. But you can kind of rest easy knowing that it's going to be a little bit of time until Stormstormer is going to be able to join in for the bigger fights again.
On the side of Entity, all their timings are lining up. Ags finished on the Pudge. Blink finished on the Puck. Pipe is also finished on the Brood. Going for that Vlad's into probably Wraithpact soon. So they're really tanky now. They have their initiation from Puck. They have all the damage from Pudge. This is their timing. They're going to look for maybe just running around the map, running directly at heroes, killing heroes, and just having no fear on the map.
Big gob, they are going to find Insania. Foxy going to try and charge in the ulti out as well. Insania! He is not going down. Hawk, though, is going to find him. Oh, but the Infest! Matumba trying to save the day. It's not going to be enough. Pure, he'll keep going. Matumba between a rock and a hard place now, but does get away. Zai, he'll show up. The Fear of God with that black hole available. They don't want to fight into it. They're going to back off. It'll be a 1-4 on the position 5s. Entity, it seems like they're happy with that.
Yeah, you really have to appreciate just how confident we were seeing Liquid in some of these plays, just standing their ground, knowing they've got that opportunity, knowing that the stuns aren't there, and just getting the full dance off with a freezing field. Not the biggest kill in the world, but it does feel nice.
Oh, nice coil. He finds him in the tree line, but can they get the damage off? It seems like the Ember, Thunder drop low, Avalanche toss out, they've got enough. Mickey is going to drop. Stormstormer does pick up the kill, now unstoppable on the puck, and now a hook out from Pure. Mid-charge up into the top lane. Foxy's going to try and TP away, but he's not going to make it. More strength away of the punch. That's a beautiful hook.
Everyone just commending their boy. And it's looking scary for Liquid. The BKB's slowing down again and again, and they're just not really getting the connections they need. Even on mid, it was, thankfully for them, Coil was still cooldown for 20 seconds, or Matu also goes down there.
Yeah, I think the one thing we're seeing different from that game one combo of the Spirit Breaker and Lifestealer is that we're not seeing them be aggressive, right? Like they're much more satisfied with Matu having to build up. He does have the full Deso up, going for the Shard next, so not too different from that game's item progression. It's just they're not able to play around it, and without that tool, just relying solely on Mike, it just doesn't feel like the Ember does enough. Like, as you mentioned, no damage with its kind of build-up. We're rushing the BKB. BKB not even up yet. Entity has such a massive power spike in comparison.
Yeah, they're 5,000 gold now, and all Liquid needs is the BKB and maybe an infest kill, and they can maybe change the fight. You know, maybe they get one kill, maybe they kill the puck instantly, and that's it. But Entity, they don't have a they don't have a rule set, they don't have a bulletin that they need to follow the bullet points, like do this, and we'll win the fight. They just kind of can walk at Liquid, I think, and click their buttons and they'll win the fight.
It's an infest out for Boxy. They are smoked up. They're ready to try and force a fight with the Desolator up now on the Lifestealer. They want to try and get this timing going. They'll see Fishman. It's just the Jakiro, but they'll take what they can get. That'll be the Desa reveal from Matumba. They would have probably liked a bit more of a team fight, but they won't be able to find anything. So you do have another timing now. Blink and BKB up on Mickey and Zai.
Yeah, and again, this game there's no black hole cancel through BKB. So once Zai gets towards his BKB timing, it'll be a lot better. But even now, it's really hard to black hole. Every single hero can cancel besides the Broodmother, so has to just be very careful at what his choices are in the fight. And at least now Mickey can kind of cause disruption in the fight and not to worry about his life too much.
So, kind of have a little bit more impact coming out. Do find it interesting. He is going for a little bit just more durability. Sanj and Kaya coming out next. Maybe a little bit more damage, but really just the stat resist, not being caught out for too long and just zipping around the back line is going to be feeling great. We're at the point in the game, 21.5 minutes in, where you are pretty geared up now on the Broodmother as well. Full pipe, the Wraith pack of Entity not too far off, and they're going for a smoke play here.
They are. With that Radiant jungle, who do they find? Maybe in the mid lane. You see one. Oh, that's a big one. Mickey, nice juke away. Not going to get caught by the Avalanche. Instead, it seems like they want to head north. Liquid now, they'll smoke up as well. In that dire jungle, they've got that high ground advantage. Just Kataomi is going to get caught out. Infest was there by Matumba. They should find one with the Dream Coil and the toss back. They've got two locked down with the Ice Path. Matumba, he's still going to try and go for the fight. Fishman is going to get shredded here. And now the black hole! Sai! He'll find two of them. There's no helping coming either. Perfect setup from the Enigma. But where's the damage? Stormstormer still running away. Mickey unable to finish the job as this puck still managed to somehow survive.
Now can Lupe get out? Doesn't look like there's going to be a chase from Entity, but it looks so good. Black hold on the orb, he catches the Pudge and the puck, but there's just no follow-up, no damage.
Just instant blink out, man. That's going to be a consistent issue for both sides, it feels like, because on the one hand, Entity can't really lock in Mika while he has that BKB, but you also kind of lack that catch for Stormer once he's able to kind of blink around. So both sides kind of have to try to find a way to neutralize each other's highly mobile mids, and I mean, Liquid, as you mentioned, they got a really good black hole, but the follow-through just doesn't feel like it's there. Maybe back to that itemization. With a BKB, without the Maelstrom, without that lightning procs, it just doesn't feel like you hit hard enough in that window.
Yeah, a lot of his job right now is to just play with the Lifestealer, and so unfortunately for them, I don't think Matu was able to hit in the black hole. So the BKB for Mickey is mostly just because his team needs a frontliner, And the Lifestealer can, but he's always infested. So you need a secondary frontliner to just start the fight, give you vision, so that Spearbreaker can charge while infested, and then, you know...
Oh, here we go again. Here we go again. Kataomi, he's going to get caught out. Hook away. Pure is not going to be able to save the Tiny. Now Pure, he's in danger. Matumba right onto the punch. They've got the Pos one in control. Matumba, can he keep going? They do at least find Box in the Spearbreaker, but Matumba, he just keeps going for more. Toby being chased down, charges out. They've got Fishman. It's looking good for Liquid as they do chase down Stormstormer. Toby still trying to juke. Somehow Insania gonna make it out with his life intact, and now Foxy, he's back in on Toby. The Spider in big trouble. Liquid, they want to keep going, but it's just so hard to lock this man down. In comes Mickey. They've got the chains out. They've got the Brood Mother, and they've basically got themselves a team wipe. The only survivor is the puck on Stormstormer. That's about it. 4 down for the side of Entity.
It's a big difference this time around. Liquid managed to group up a lot better, and Entity are much closer together as well. This is them winning out the fight very cleanly without the black hole. And you still have issues catching out Stormstormer, but once that Lifestealer is on the punch without anything else to save, it's a very simple matchup for Mud.
I think, win or lose, I think Stormstormer is going to end this game with one death, maybe 2 deaths. I think he's always going to be the survivor. He's going to have some crazy KD, but Batu, he can't be stopped by the puck. He can't be stopped by the Pudge. Everything, even the Brute doesn't really do much to him. You saw him, he just latched onto the Pudge. They had 1 stun to cancel the Dismember, and then he just stood there, and they had nothing to deal with him.
It's difficult for Entity, and I think for Liquid, I mean, that must be a great feeling. They lost out a little bit in that fight on the dire side jungle. They take one without Black Hole. They're going to have Black Hole off in a few seconds as well. So they're free to kind of re-engage now. And you do have the Kaya up on Mike. So feeling a little bit more damage coming out from Flame Guard, although Boxy.
Fishman, you get caught out. Foxy and Toby going to try and move in, but the Nether Strike not going to land on the target he wanted. They'll secure the Jakiro. Entity hanging around. It seems like they want to try and force something, but it's a bit of a rough one. Oh, with a nice Dream Coil, though. Stormstormer setting up on Elise Insania. They've got the BKB up on the Ember, however, as Boxy right in. Kataomi, he's the big target. Matumba, he'll rush through on that Lifestealer. They'll find the Tiny. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Liquid.
One of the cool things is both teams have a Wraith Pact. It's a good item. But for the side of Liquid, they don't have the greatest Wraith Pact hitters. If you're going to ask Lifestealer to do it, you're asking him to use his Rage just to kill the Wraith Pact. But for the side of Entity, all the Spiders will kill it just in 1 volley of attacks. So
you are going to move in. He's found the Ember, but the Malefice not going to allow the Dismember to keep going. Hawk is not going to be long enough. Whew. Would have felt the wind on the backside with that hook, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's a close one. And going back to that point of the Wraith Packs, it does feel a little bit harder for Liquid to kind of focus in on it, but I guess it kind of neutralizes when you both have just running, so both of you kind of get the same EHD coming out. The one thing I'm curious about here, Gunnar, is that when you're Ember up against Brood without the Maelstrom, how annoyed is it annoying to have to bounce around all these Spider-Wings? Because it feels like Mika is losing a little bit of impact just having to jump around so many creeps.
The nice thing is he got the Flame Guard talent at 15. So with the Kaya Sanch, he actually does 120 damage with Flame Guard. So even if you're just jumping around, you're still dealing a lot of damage. You're making it so you can't be jumped either. So you don't always need to have the BKB that early if you get a Sleight of Fist off. It's just a lot of invulnerability. So it's a give and take. You don't do as much physical damage, but you exist longer. You get to get more spells off. You do a lot of magic damage. So it's not the worst, but it's, you know, there's more impact he could have if there wasn't a Brood and he had more damage.
Such a close game, number 3. I mean, it's a 3k advantage to Entity, but it still feels like anyone's game right now. Smuggling's getting so much vision for the side of Entity at the moment. You see Matumba, top of the net worth forward. On that Lifestealer, they just haven't found a way of dealing with him throughout this game. And there's going to be another big smoke up. They've got the Black Hole. They've pretty much got every spell available. Invest immediately out onto Boxy. Entity, they've got to be so careful because Roshan is going to get started. They really want the fight in the Roshan pit with the Black Hole. It just feels like such a big advantage for Liquid. But in goes the puck. Stormstormer just in the face shift, trying to just get some information for his team as Liquid. They'll keep going. Continues to poke and prod at Liquid.
Yeah, and the BKB's now finished for Matu, so 15 seconds of BKB in these fights.
He's in. Kataomi, he tries as well. They're trying to lock down Stormstormer. They'll find Insania on the CM. Meanwhile, Zai has been caught out. Dreamcore will lock him down. Toby, he can't get close. He's still ticking away. Zai somehow still alive. The orb, it's going to fly through Toby. He'll be able to get the kill. Secure with the swarm. There's now Matumba being chased down. Stormstormer, has he gone too far on the puck, however? Liquid still trying to kite in and out. Pure, he's happy to oblige, though. He goes right back in, but he's not within range for a hook.
Centaur stomp on Toby, trying to help out Liquid. Thankfully for them, they didn't pop the Mickey BKB. He still has his 8-second, oh, it's only 6-second BKB now, but can they even contest this Roshan now? They don't have the Zai Enigma. Matu doesn't really want to just walk in by himself, and it looks like they're just going to give up the Aegis.
I mean, Mickey could try. He might just. Roshan going to go down. Pure, he's got the Aegis. Attempt as Boxy a little bit too close, will try to charge away. 4-star there as well. Looks like he might just be fine. But Aegis does go the way of Entity. Pure now with a double life. The game gets so much harder for the side of Liquid.
That was a cool force. It was by the Tiny. It was to cancel the charge. So it was a nice idea, but just pushes him just past the high ground. And yeah, now Pure has 2 lives. Matu, he's gonna spend a long time. He does a lot of damage, but pudges a lot of health. So he's going to have to use maybe his entire BKB and rage duration. And now, when he respawns, he's not going to have BKB. Maybe his rage is on cooldown. And can you really still fight him after that?
Green Coil is there. Mickey. He'll be the one to get caught. Pure. That's a nice hook out. He breaks the coil on the Ember. But now Zai, he'll at least find the trade. That'll be Stormstormer down on 1-1 on both mid laners. Entity still looking to go in. Pure, he'll just jump right in, but Matumba, he's got the BKB usage. It's still Pure. So tanky is the hook. Is not going to land this time. Who wants to keep going, though? It seems like both sides might need a reset. They are both going to back up.
That's huge to find on Stormstormer. A massive kill streak on him. So he does gain another death. You know, not going to say it one death here, still within a very low amount. But that feels really beneficial for Liquid. Sure, you lose Mika. It's not the best feeling in the world, but that's still a huge gold swing that just helps everyone else on their case. And it did cost them Black Hole here, though.
Already infested on the Spear Breaker. Oh, gonna try to counter it?
They're going to try. Charge is there, but Avalanche is out.
They'll walk away.
They will get away.
Yeah, all Zai's kind of job, I think, right now, always thinking is wait very, very far back, wait for puck to jump your back line, quote unquote, which is like the Crystal Maiden, and then black hole the puck and just kill the puck. That's all he needs to do. I think asking for a black hole and even more than that is not even necessary. If the puck goes down, then a lot of more free reign for Mickey, a lot of free reign for Matu, because being silenced without pressing raid is really scary. So the puck is a lot of the big issues right now.
Yeah, and just taking care of that problem just feels like Liquid will have a lot to play with after the fact. 24-21, still a 4K lead for Entity, but with Matu at the top, does feel like this lifesteal is starting to really shape up. Basher at the ready now for Matu, so he can kind of get a little bit more control for his team out. Going for the AC next, going to be hitting pretty nice and hard here with the Deso on top. And then for Entity, I mean, we're at this point now, 31 minutes in, you know, after invading the bot jungle with Toby, after getting this Axe and BKB timing on Pure. As we scale towards a more mid to late game timing, do you start to feel like Liquid kind of picks up the pace here, or do you think it can kind of keep track with that scaling?
I think Liquid, their draft-wise, is going to keep up the pace. I think Mickey's game is not, you know, amazing, so he's not some crazy Ember going to mid-late game. And a lot of it's going to be on
Boxy, BKB's there, but Dismember's going to hold him down. Boxy's still going to nether strike and is going to run his way out. Even the drum charge is trying to help him as now Maleficent, Toby, he'll get stunned up. Liquid, they don't want the fight. Or do they? Entity, they're the ones that'll keep going. But Tumba is going to be spotted out. Seems like they just want to prep for this tier 2 mid-tower defense.
Middle tower
Dangerous position now for Liquid, and I'd hate to make it worse for them, but there is a double damage rune sitting up top just waiting for the side of Entity. Stormstorm will go ahead and pick that one up.
Thankfully, it's no really good DD carriers on Entity. It's a lot of spells and kiting and some damage, but a lot of it's just these spells, so it's not the worst. There could be worse DDs, like if Matu got it this game for Entity, but yeah, I think it's all on Matu right now. Liquid is, all their hopes and dreams of this game are on Matu. Everyone else has their jobs, their roles. They're going to have very big impact, but it's pretty much on him whether he can just kill everyone one by one or not.
A lot of damage on Boxy. Coil, high five up. Boxy cannot escape Stormstormer. Find a single pick off down to the bot lane, and
with that one down, I mean, he does have buyback available, but you might want to try and force it by forcing in that tier 2 mid tower.
I think they'd probably rather give up the tower than force buyback. He's already trying to get his Shadow Blade, which I think is a really big item. It lets him actually catch the puck with these charges across the map and burst him. And if you ask him to buyback and you don't get probably 3 or more kills, it's going to just feel bad for the game.
Matumba, he's a big target. Malefus will cancel still. The hook is there. Matumba forced to rage up and try to run. Be able to lock him down long enough. He will back his way out. That mid tier 2 tower, like you said, they are kind of forced to just give it up. They don't want to commit that buyback on Boxy. So Entity, one step closer to winning out this best of 3 series against Liquid, just controlling so much of the map. And now their net worth lead, you'd imagine, does start to escalate a bit faster.
Yeah, it does. And again, this next Rosh, Aegis just expires now, so now waiting this next 3 minutes for it to start spawning, that's the big one. That's what everyone's looking at. And Liquid have the tools to fight it. They have the BKB on Enigma, and again, as we said earlier, there's not really cancels, but Entity, they just keep hitting their big timing Octarine on the puck.
Okay. That's Remnant out. Matumba, he's gonna find Pure. This is a pos 1 punch. Dismember is there with the black hole. Zai, he will have none of it, and Pure's gone. They get caught with their pants down. Liquid, is this the opening? Coil is down, they'll hold down the Nakes, the Lifestealer tossed away. Matumba, he's locked down, no BKB available, though he does get it off, but it's not gonna matter. He is gonna drop. They do trade 1-for-1 on the position ones. Stormstormer wants to keep going. After Zai, he does, but Boxy is there with a charge, trying to slow them down, but Zai is gone now. No buybacks as the Hawk. Insania, he will be the third to go. Entity onto the tier 3 towers, and they don't have the buybacks on Liquid.
Yeah, they don't have the buybacks. Even if they did, Zai not going to have the black hole for the defense, so it's going to be basically all down to their combinations with Boxy, Matu, and Mike. And they are not the fastest pushers in the world here on Entity. Boxy trying to stall.
Can they cancel? Avalanche? Oh, it's not going to make it. The Ice Path. No mana for the Avalanche. So they're onto the tier 3 towers. You kind of ask yourself, how do Liquid stop this?
Thankfully for them, they just got Bacter protection off. There was no creeps in the base, so they're basically going to die a little slower. But even just diving again and again.
Hawk, not going to land this time. Boxy riding with the charge. The coil was expended. They just have to back off to the fountain, buy a bit more time. Zai's up now, but again, he doesn't have the black hole available. You need Matumba here to try and help defend this. Entity, they understand the weaknesses. They'll keep going, but it seems like that'll be enough. As Boxy, he's in onto Stormstormer. They'll try to chain him up, but it will not land. Storm, he's going to be just fine to orb away. Instead, it's back in onto Pure. They want the big one. Here comes Matumba onto the putt with the Dismember. Cancelled off by Boxy with a great charge out. Pure dropping way too low. In fact, it's insane that goes down first, but they've got the punch down. They've got Fishman as well. No buyback available for Pure. Can they capitalize? Liquid, they'll keep going. Katomi's down. Zai, has he found Toby? He has. He's got the Broodmother in the tree line. It's going to be a 4th down for the side of Entity. The only survivor's going to be Stormstormer, and there's 90 seconds without the Pudge.
A massive win. And it looked really bad for Liquid as well, almost to the point where they might have lost Rasmus. But as you said, Gunnar, backdoor was still there. They managed to stall Boxy's little play charging forward, buying enough time for them to even find this opportunity.
Here's the scary part. How long will it take for Rosh to spawn? If it's a fast Rosh, they'll just get it for free, and then the game will be in Liquid's hands. So a minute, at least Entity has the chance to all respawn and be able to fight again, but as we watch the replay.
It's a crazy replay. And they stuck around a bit too long, maybe. And it's just Boxy, right? He's just constantly charging through these team fights. We saw a great Dismember on Matumba, but it just didn't matter because Boxy's always ready with the charge. You'll see it here, I think. There it is. Charge immediately. Just no chance to just hold on to the Lifestealer. And you've got to argue, I mean, Boxy, he's doing so much work in these fights.
He really is. Again, even down to what he's trying to do on the map, stalling out the pushes, dragging out the creep waves from the tier 3s, providing so much time for Liquid to kind of regroup up. And Entity, they're not in a bad state. Maybe just kind of have to rebuild, regroup, save up for buybacks, or hold out for buybacks, especially on Pure. But that will eat into the Aegis or Roche timing here, as it is starting to tick down. Liquid has good control over the pit area. And this is the big one, right? This is the Roshan that kind of dictates what happens next.
Yeah, now it's been long enough, so they have Black Hole again on the side of Liquid. Liquid kind of has everything right now, and they don't really have any buybacks, so they have 1 life on all of their heroes.
Look at the win probability right now. Look how close this game is. 50-50 right now between these two, I believe it is. It's kind of insane how close it is. A Stormer. Charge is there. They're going to move right in onto the Jakira Matamba, trying to get the damage off the Dream Coil. Going to lock down 3, but they don't seem to mind. They'll keep going. Pure, he's waiting for a hook opportunity, but can't quite find one. Matamba, he'll pop the BKB. Pure, trying to move in. Hawk, not there. Boxy, just ready with the charge, just in case. It's Kataomi now with the toss back, trying to gift the hook over to his Pudge. Matamba, still running with that rage available. He just wants to get out, go for a reset once again. They got the buyback out of the Jakira, and that's all they seemingly wanted.
Yeah, but they used the Black Hole there from Zaya. It's not going to be available. Black Hole BKB pop didn't catch anyone out. Entity might have that opening for Roshan if they decide to play their cards right here.
Yeah, their Rosh isn't that great. They don't really have like a carry, right? That's going to take the Rosh. Even the Brute doesn't have the build to just kill Rosh on his own. So they're probably going to look to take a fight and play off of the fear that Liquid thinks they might Rosh. They're going to try to play off of making them force a scan, and maybe they think they're in Rosh, and it's all about the kills now for Entity, whereas Liquid just wants to stall it out and play for the Black Hole.
Here we go. Roshan gets started. Entity, they've got first dibs. Seems like Liquid nowhere near the Roshan pit, and perhaps without that Black Hole up, they don't want to try and force the fight. Just have to let this one go. Entity will happily take it away. Liquid, they'll have to sit back and just watch. Shards up, Aegis up. Happy days for Entity. Still, this game is just too close.
Has been killed.
It is very scary, both teams. I don't think any team is very favored right now. It's only 4,000 golds, 40 minutes in the game. The biggest thing is probably going to be buybacks and location of the fight. So Matsu's about to hit his buyback. He'll probably choose to save it. Pure is not going to buyback for 2 minutes, but thankfully he has the Aegis. And there's very limited buybacks right now. It's pretty much just Mickey and on this Mickey and Matsu right now for Liquid.
Damn, that could be the breaking point, right? Like, we saw how scary it was when Pure dived back as well. It gave a big window for Liquid that they just didn't manage to fully capitalize on. Gonna have to just wait for that reset on the Black Hole, as mentioned. And it's not too far off, half a minute away. Issue is, with 2 lives in Pure, that can make things a little bit tougher. We'll see if they find that opening. If you are on Entity, like you mentioned, that second rush being the big one, what conditions do they have to meet to re-enter that high ground once more?
Again, their objective taking is not the best. They're able to force Rosh because they know Liquid's just not going to walk up. And again, I feel like they force the Rosh more of a come fight us. And when they know they can tell Liquid is just, all right, it's your Rosh, we give up, take it. But they're not really going to do that for the base. Enigma's going to be able to defend. Ember's going to chain Slight. So it's kind of hard for them to ever actually force to end the game. It's always just about the kills. It's always just about finding them, getting that 1 kill. Once you get the 1 kill, then you can go the high ground. But until then, it's a lot of walking around and trying to secure the map.
It certainly became a lot easier to find that 1 kill. Stormer, he's got the ninja gear now, so just having the smoke on himself throughout this game, just able to find those pickups if they are hanging around. We'll have a look around the bot lane, but won't be able to find one. In the meantime, Boxy, he's finally got that Axe up on the Spirit Breaker. See what that can get done here for the teams. And obviously we've seen how effective these charges have been throughout these engagements. Suddenly, Boxy, he's going to have a very, very low cooldown stun just constantly throughout these fights. Just seems so important Liquid trying to utilize this off the Spirit Breaker.
Also, you can use it on the Pudge while BKB'd without having to find a different target in the fight, so a lot easier time of choosing where to charge and how to fight. I think Entity might actually just wait for the Pudge buyback. It's up to 400 gold, 20 seconds, and then at least they have a failsafe. They lose the fight terribly.
Boxy invested up. They're going to find the Pudge. There's no buyback available, but they've got the Aegis. That's the first life gone. Can they find a second, though? There's the Black Hole available with the BKB holding down Pure onto the high ground, though. Pure, he's still going to drop. That's what they wanted. Liquid, they'll keep moving forward. They'll find Toby now. Fishman, he'll go down to Mickey, who does take him out. Toby, can he get away? He's stuck on the low ground. He's gone. Oh, Liquid, they might be doing something special here. Kataomi, he'll try to rub a Boxy. We'll lock him down once again. Yule Scepter up. It's not going to matter, though. They'll chain him down. Can they get the team wipe? Stormer trying to escape. In fact, they don't even want it. They want to go for objectives now. Into the mid-tier 2 tower they go. There's not many buybacks available.
Oh man, it looks so difficult, but they just focus all in on Pure, managed to work out the 2 lives. I thought it might be a really difficult fight. You have the level 25 on Stormer from a while ago. BKB piercing, Dream Coil didn't even come out. The Ag's usage of Boxy just insane in the middle of these fights.
I got really scared for Liquid. The black hole pulls Pure to the high ground. Matu's stuck in the low ground. I thought he might not die, but thankfully he goes down, and the fight just kind of breaks apart from there.
Here we go, they're onto the high ground now. Keep in mind, Mickey's got that side device up, so even more control now on the Ember. Things are looking so tough for Entity in this game number 3. Liquid suddenly so close to pulling off the victory they've been looking for. They're onto the top lane. 1 racks up. Entity, how do they defend this? It's so tough. They're saving their buybacks. They'll use the Glyph instead. They'll buy a bit more time. Stormer just preparing to initiate. They'll try onto Matumba, but it's a bit of poking and prodding for now. Coil committed as well. Maybe a little bit early, but Kataomi could think about the toss back. Rage is there, however. Matumba, he's going to be just fine. It seems like they're going to go back and address the bottom lane instead, as it is pushing in at the moment.
Yeah, the Coil's not too long of a cooldown. They don't feel bad, and at least they force them away, right? They lose one side of racks. It's not the worst. They don't force any buybacks, and now the game slightly in Liquid's favor. Entity still, you know, they can take these fights, they can still destroy the Life Stealer, but now it's scary. You know that your Pudge is killable. Every time you know you're this really tanky hero and he feels vulnerable, you just lose so much of just mental pressure that you have on the enemy team.
Zania, be okay to TP out. Liquid back onto their high ground. 1 racks up. It's still anyone's game. I mean, it's a 6k net worth advantage, 34 to 27, 45 minutes in, but it really just feels like anyone can pull off this victory. Just one decent team fight. No buybacks available, and suddenly you're in trouble.
I think the one thing that makes this difficult for Stormer now, you've got the full Hex up on Mike. He can just come in, get that instant control the team needs. They're not under as much pressure for Zai to actually land that black hole onto the puck. As we've seen before, you land it on Pure, it's a worthwhile target as well. And Mika can just do what he needs to do in this game. Maybe only slot left is that Orb of Roshan to swap out, otherwise you're starting to get fully slotted up here. Boxy, he's the real menace. Yasha up, Woody Axe, and he charges like a madman, the cooldown so low. They have to watch that combination. At this point, Matumba's more than happy to just stick around with Boxy now.
I think Mickey has done an amazing job this game. He had a really rough early game. He goes for BKB and he struggles to get there, but now after BKB, he goes for the Kaya Sanj, he goes to Ags, and he's just done so much in these late game fights. Just this itemization just kind of is enabling them to take these fights later in the game. Especially the Sheep, I think is going to just wreak havoc in the fights.
Here we go. Triangle, it's Boxy, just going to go ahead and adjust the brief wave. Stormer, oh, that's a big one. Tex is out, they'll lock him down, but do they have any follow-up? They do not. Not for now. That device just so scary for the puck to have to play against. Sure, you've got the A on this, but even with that, once it's down, it's... Oh boy, it's just too frightening here for Stormers. They will show mid lane. Boxy going to charge right in onto the Jakira Matumba. No fear in the world, but Pure, he has the shards up. Pure, eat away.
Yeah, disc now popped though. That's Stormstormer's one saving grace in the fights.
Can they keep going? Seems like they might. Liquid hanging around, but they don't have the vision. They'll head back, at least for now.
Yeah, they managed to bait out the Dream Coil once more from Stormer.
They want to try and go. Hook is there from Pure, trying to relocate this Broodmother, but they've got the Maleficus. Toby's in big trouble, but there's the Eat again. Out, Black Hole is there from Zai. He found the Pudge. Pure, he's in so much trouble. Boxy with the charge again. He's going to find the pause one Pudge. Buyback is there immediately. Entity, they need to be so careful. This game, it's falling out of their hands. Liquid, they'll find another. Toby is down, but buyback immediate as now they jump in. Dismember is there, but no, the charge. Boxy, he hasn't had enough yet. Matumba onto Pure. It might be a tieback, it will be. They've got the punch down. Entity, the chains out. Mickey, he'll lock down a couple more. Zai gonna move in. They've got one down. They've got Mickey down, but they need Matumba. He's the big target. Mickey, who'll run it back forward. Entity, they are not giving up yet. They want to keep fighting this one out. Buybacks have been expended though, and that'll mean Liquid are the ones that need to try and find the fighters. There is a charge. Kataomi, he was the target, but they do cancel. So Pure's down with that buyback for basically a minute and a half right now. Can Liquid capitalize?
They still have the Black Hole too. He has a refresher, he popped the refresher, has a second one ready, and there's no buyback for the Pudge. Like we said, he just died back from the fight. The buybacks for Liquid didn't feel amazing. The Ember and the Spirit Breaker are both forced to kind of buy back, so now Entity, you know, they can look at this as a win condition, but as of now, it's looking really scary.
Yeah, they can just aim for the high ground, threaten with that black hole, and if anything comes up, if they don't feel safe, there's always the Roshan in 20 seconds as well. Not the longest respawn to wait for left. That's Matu.
Gonna go in, tier 3 tower, gonna be under siege. Boxy will get stopped by the ice path. And they go though, the tier 3 more important is no, never mind. They want Bishop with the toss back. Mickey, he just fought back. Charge again, Boxy, gonna buy a bit of space. Now the black hole, Zai, he'll hold down a couple. They've got the puck, Stormstormer, so much trouble, he's gonna go down. But he does have buyback. In we go again. This will be the final lives here for the side of Entity. It's Liquid. They'll find a secondary Rax. Do they want to go for a third right here, right now? They've got 30 seconds without the punch.
It's so hard. It feels so hard to defend. Matu just does way too much damage. He has a full Abyssal finish now, too. They can't kill him. He kills them by himself. And what does NCT do versus him?
Yeah, they still have a little bit of a window to go Roshan if they want to, although Respawn is coming out on Pure. But they have to repair these lanes. Not going to have an easy path outside for Entity to kind of contest. And they're going for it. Matu straight into Roshan. Free Axe along with a cheese now on Roshan number 3.
And a double damage.
And a double damage every single time there, Mike.
Every single time. Gaben's Blessing is what we call it. Toby, he's going to move in. Roshan in trouble. Can he do something about it? He can try to sneak his way in with the ice pot. They need this Aegis their way. Katomi jumps in. Matumba! He does outclick them. His hands are way too fast. Katomi in danger. Yule stuff trying to run. Will force stuff to the high ground, but the chase is there. Mickey not done. Bouncing all across the map. The Tiny is still alive. Pure trying to save the day, but now he's the one in danger. He hasn't got buyback. He needs to run. The BKB about to wear off Boxy. He's going to hold him down. This could be it. They don't have their pos 1 punch. Toby in danger. Meanwhile, Mickey being controlled up here by the puck, by the Jakira, but he's just man fighting onto the Jack.
Insane.
Meanwhile, Toby on the high ground in so much danger with the Crystal Nova. Fishman, he's also going to go down up north. They take him out. The only survivors are Toby and Stormstormer, and they've got to try desperately to try and save this situation. But in goes the chase onto the top racks once again. There's Mega Creeps available very soon if Liquid can find it. They've got their hands up. They're feeling confident. Boxy, he's going to find the puck, but Stormstormer is okay to back off.
Man, it's just coming all together now for Liquid. They take that opportunity in the Roche.
My heart.
The snatch of Matu, giving them all the room they need to end this game. If that goes to Pure, it could end differently. Divine Rapier for Matu.
Oh, here we go.
Doesn't feel necessary, but it'll just reach the end of the game a lot faster.
They want to put a little in this game right here, right now. Tier 4 towers under siege. Hardly any buybacks. They've got to try and fight this one Entity. It's just such a tough ask. Such a hard defense. Liquid, men's of business. They'll keep going for the T4s onto the Ancient with the Divine Rapier. There's no way to stop them. Liquid, they'll be proceeding through the GG's call. The GG is called. What a series we have witnessed here between these two. Entity, they put on such a performance, but Liquid, the comeback in game 3, I don't know how they do it, but they make it happen.
Yeah, they play so well in that game 3 as well, right? Like, there were a couple of rocky moments. Mickey, it looked like he struggled a bit, rushing that BKB, not having enough damage, but then they just tie in together. They execute as a team to a very high level, and this item build, especially in Boxy with the Act, it made a massive difference in getting a lot of those fights going.
Yeah, I think, especially Matu, I think Matu played a phenomenal game. He was always in the right positions. He was always infested in Boxy, and they were getting kills together. Boxy, great early game as well, but just I think Matu, just the way he was pretty flawless, honestly.
Oh, elimination Dota, it's just, it gets your heart pumping, doesn't it? And you've got to feel for the boys from Entity, obviously. You heard Blitz earlier on in the game. He said these are great guys, these are very nice people, and they put in a hell of a performance for us here. Liquid obviously proving to be the better team today, but you can't take anything away from these guys. They were fantastic.
Yeah, very close game, very close series. Even game 2, you know, it can go either way, both games. All 3 games can kind of go both ways.
Yeah, just very close. And, you know, these guys on Entity, they had such a long journey. Their first match being the longest in TI, of course, in the playoffs. And for them to just show this much improvement throughout the year and perform so well, I think these guys should be proud of themselves. They don't manage to get as far as they'd want to, but they still do really well here in TI. Kind of proving a lot of people who doubt them wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an experience, right? It's a learning curve. And next year around, next time they come here, you could just bet they're going to be way better.
Yeah, it's also a lot of their players are. I think it's their first TI, so just
Emotion.
Some nerves, some emotions, and just good Dodo's play today.
Good sportsmanship here from the Entity boys, just shaking their hands, giving hugs. With that, we are going to head off to the panel, see what our panel do think about this series overall.
Welcome back to the panel. Yes, we're actually beautiful moments on the screen there. I really feel that Blitz and Insania were talking to Stormstorm, who was like, you guys played amazing. We're sorry we knocked you out, but of course, Liquid move on.